2 years ago, there were no McKinney Boyd Broncos. And last year, there was an 0-10 McKinney Boyd Broncos for the first year ever. And tonight, in their second year with a win, they can reach the playoffs for the first time. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Jay Lindley, and John Leidy, our sideline extraordinaire. Well, not with us tonight is Rob Johnson. We'll miss him as our spotter tonight, but he may, he may show up somewhere midway through the game. We'll see. But tonight, it's all about the McKinney Boyd Broncos and the Colony, who travels over here to try to stop McKinney Boyd from their first ever playoff trip. But if they win, it's simple as this: if they win tonight, they're in. If they lose, they're out.
Well, Monty, as I like to quote you. This is the best team in McKinney, and the real question today is the best team in McKinney a playoff team. We'll figure that out tonight. Little Elm did their part to try to keep the momentum going for them, basically forcing Boyd to have to win. But the nice thing is they own their own destiny. If they win, they're in. If they lose, they're out. It's that simple. They know what they're playing for.
Well, as Al Davis would say, just win, baby. That's the theme tonight for the Boyd Broncos. Just win. But it's not going to be a cakewalk. The Colony's coming in on a 3-game winning streak. This team, the Colony Cougars, going back to 2003, a record of 10-39. As you can imagine, having a 3-game winning streak at this point in the season, this is a team that started out 1-5. They are riding a wave right now, having beaten Lake Dallas. They think they can pull off the upset.
Well, and the thing about it is, Jay, you talk about being from 2003. As Boyd has proven, last year means nothing. So you can pull back. The plain fact of the matter is this year they're 4-5. They're 3-3 in the district. Very competitive team. Like you said, they beat one of the district leaders, and obviously the district championship will be decided tonight. Lake Dallas has a chance to do that against Frisco. That's another story. But this isn't the team from last year, the year before that, a year before that. They're, like Boyd, a much more improved team.
A little uniform switch in tonight's action as well for McKinney Boyd. Darren Alves, who comes in as the leader on offense for McKinney Boyd, and basically the whole team, to be exact. He will not wear the number 8 tonight that he's been so accustomed to. He will wear the number 19. And we asked about the reason for the change in numbers, and basically it was because he's so little. He's a little bitty guy. He's 5'6", 150 pounds. The medium jersey was too big for him, and people were able to grab him by the jersey and pull him down. So he went to a smaller uniform in order to escape some of those tackles, those jersey tackles.
And once you mentioned that while we were setting up for the game today, it made perfect sense. You see that all the time. I just merely thought that was his running style. You went to tackle him, you missed, and all you could do was grab a jersey. Now think about that. If you grab a jersey that's not there now, does this make him a better football player?
Well, it can't make him any worse.
Exactly.
I'm kind of surprised they haven't went back to the mid-'80s tearaway jerseys with the running ability of Alves.
Well, by the end of the night, he'd have no clothes on.
Alves on the season rushing has 1,922 yards and 22 touchdowns, and that's an 8-yard average per carry. That is just tremendous by the sophomore quarterback, 5'6", $150, and he's going to go over the 2,000-yard mark tonight.
Well, and he gets to go against the second leading rusher in District 9 4A, as well as the second leading rusher in all of North Texas in Class 4A, Tony Peoples. Peoples, no slouch himself, coming in with 1,625 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. So this game will definitely be played on the ground.
Both quarterbacks wearing the number 19 tonight. Bryce Perkins for the Colony, strapping it up at quarterback. The junior has had 1,708 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Also on the ground, not his specialty, only 56 yards on the ground, 3 touchdowns. He likes to throw the ball, so we'll see the Colony airing it out a little bit. We'll see the McKinney Boyd Broncos running it on the ground. 2 completely different styles of offense.
Well, and Jay and I were talking before the game. You got the 2 top offenses in the district, and the plain reality of the situation is you have a very well-balanced the Colony offense, whereas it all runs through Alves for Boyd. So not saying that means one thing or another, but it really illustrates the different styles. You can lose a quarterback, the Colony can. I'm not saying that, again, he's not that great. You lose Alves on the Boyd side, however, boy, it hurts.
How does the team go from 0-10 to 6-3? insert 2,000 yards from your quarterback on the ground. That's how it happens. We're going to take a quick timeout here, have the senior spotlight and the coaches show coming up next on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms, Jay Lindley, and John Leidy. And John is making his way down on the field, and making their way out on the field also are the teams, and they'll be out in just a moment. The helmets are up, and the McKinney Boyd Broncos have their big Bronco head tunnel, and it's red, white, and blue, or scarlet, I guess, because that's the official color of McKinney Boyd, scarlet and blue. While the Colony Cougars have their own black helmet with the TC. Now, their logo looks a bit like the Texas Tech Red Raiders, except for the small T inside the big T, it's actually a C. So it's TC as in the Colony. Looks kind of strange over there, but they are black and gold. And on their little pup tent has the Colony Cougars written on it in gold. There's a black tunnel. Now let's check down with John Leidy, who has some information about some blue uniforms. I believe they're going to wear some blue uniforms tonight. Go ahead and talk about that.
Guys, I do actually have some information about the blue uniforms tonight. Boyd is actually 6-3 going into tonight's game, and they've only worn the blue uniforms once this year, and it actually was the very first victory in school history. So they're 1-0 in the blue uniforms. Now with the red uniforms that they've been wearing recently, they're 1-1. And then with their white jerseys, which are actually the road jerseys, they're 4-2, and that's actually, especially for an early program, you're glad to have a 4-2 record for the road. But they're looking for a little fortune tonight to go there wearing these blue jerseys. They can make a little bit of history. First win in school history was in the blues, and then they could also make it tonight to where they can get the first postseason appearance by them. The one thing that does concern me was with the Little Elm game being last night and knowing that they have to win tonight for a young program, that is putting a lot of pressure on them. So we can see if they're going to rise to the occasion tonight. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks, John, down on the sidelines. We'll talk with John in a moment about the weather conditions. It's an absolutely gorgeous evening here at Ron Poe Stadium in McKinney. But as far as the blue uniforms, he's right. This is the first time they've worn them in a while. And I actually went up to Coach Drake and asked him that. And you probably heard on the coaches show, the very last question that I asked was about those uniforms. What are you going to wear? I told him the fact that they were 1-0 in those uniforms. And I really just want to know why we haven't seen them since that first game. What happened? And he didn't really have an answer. He just said, I think we'll probably pull the blues out this week. We've been thinking about that.
You patting yourself on the back because you're the one who brought it to Coach Drake?
He said he already was thinking about it. So, no.
I'd at least pat you on the back.
Well, as John Leidy likes to describe these home uniforms when they wear the blue, they look like Old Miss because they have the blue uniform, the dark blue Navy uniform that all of the McKinney schools have. The Navy color is synonymous with all three McKinney high schools. But they have the white stripe over the shoulder and the white numeral outlined in red, the gray pants with the stripes down the side, and the dark blue Navy helmet with the McKinney Boyd logo on it in scarlet.
Yeah, they're really fairly snazzy uniforms, and
he describes them as Old Miss.
Yeah, and it works well. That it's a very the colors are very complimentary, and at the same time, they may look like another team, but they don't look exactly like another team like you might see with some other newer schools. I'll just leave it at that. And
on the Colony Cougar side of things, their uniform, I think Jay put it pretty plainly, they look a lot like Wake Forest.
Yeah, a lot like Wake Forest, with the two letters on the side of their helmet. You, of course, accurately describing that as the Texas Tech, but when you mix in the gold and the black and the way those uniforms look, especially with the Colony wearing their white jerseys tonight, does look a lot like we've got a matchup between Wake Forest and Ole Miss going on here at Ron Poe.
Another common item between these two teams, head coach Don Drake from McKinney Boyd spent 8 years at the Colony as an assistant coach before coming on board in the McKinney ISD program with McKinney North as the offensive coordinator over in Sean Pratt country before he took the job here last year at McKinney Boyd. So a lot of common ground with Don Drake and the Colony. Of course, Don Drake originally from Louisiana. He grew up just east of here and now has a 6-14 record in his second year, and that's pretty impressive, going from 0-10 now to 6-14.
Yeah, he's on the verge of getting really close to a 500 record, and it's obviously not going to happen unless you make a big playoff run. But you look at what Coach Pratt's been able to do. We all think that's a fairly amazing job. At this pace, Drake's not for a better run. Now, he's got to go into 5A next year, so don't expect quite the same.
Well, but nonetheless, I mean, obviously, Boyd, their season this year, it has been the story of District 9 4A. I don't think anyone in their right mind would have predicted that a second-year program would have this opportunity to get into the playoffs in only their second year of existence.
Well, as to compare to McKinney North, in the first 2 years of that program, they were 7-13. And with a win tonight, hey, they're right on schedule with what McKinney North did in their first 2 years. Now, McKinney North didn't make the playoffs.
Just about to say.
in the first 2 years, as they went 2-8 the first year. McKinney Boyd went 0-10, and North followed that up with a 5-5. And here, Boyd, if they win tonight, would be 7-3 as the Boyd Broncos come out on the field. The captains, at least, will come out on the field and prepare themselves for the coin toss. And we'll take a quick 30-second timeout. We'll be back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the gang here at Ron, with McKinney Boyd taking on the Colony. Brandon?
Yeah, guys, right before the coin toss, I want to kind of give a matchup spotlight, which I really think will be the key to Boyd's victory. And it's kind of common for a lot of games, but I really like to focus on the Colony's offensive line versus the McKinney Boyd's front seven. If Boyd can get the advantage there, they'll limit the ability of Tony Peoples, and they'll be able to limit the passing of Bryce Perkins. So if the front seven for Boyd has a really good night, then the chances of Boyd going to the playoffs are much more increased. Now, on the other end, if the Colony's offensive line starts to get the push on McKinney Boyd, then your chances start to lower, because if they can get protection for the quarterback and they can run block against McKinney Boyd, the offense will do what the offense has done all year long, and that's gain yard and score points.
Okay, we're going to have to cut out one of these.
Yeah, it's just, am I doing it right?
Maybe we'll just refer to them as the Colony instead of the Colony. That is a strange. It is pretty strange when you think about a city with the in front of the name, but they are the Colony Cougars.
Oh boy, the fun we have up here in the booth sometimes.
The captains are on their way out on the field, as we mentioned a moment ago. It's Philip Sears and Rusty Walton, the two seniors out at the midfield stripe, awaiting the Colony to come out. We haven't seen yet any of the Colony Cougars make their way on the field for the coin toss. And while we do that, we'll go over the officials for tonight's game out of the Dallas chapter. We've had this crew many times this year. The referee is Steve Smith. The umpire is Lee Smith. The head linesman is Tommy Gilliam, Purple Toes Tommy Gilliam, and we'll tell you about that in a moment. Line judge Gary Land and the back judge Justin Pierce. Now, here's what we do. Before each game, we go and talk to the officials and say, hey, we really need 60 seconds on each timeout so we can have time for commercials and things like that. Well, when I asked him for 60-second commercials, he says, yes, we always do that for you guys, and they do. And he said, but I have one request. We'll give you 60-second timeouts if you'll tell your listening audience on KLAK that the head linesman has purple toenails. Tommy Gilliam is refereeing tonight with purple toenails thanks to his 4-year-old daughter.
Now, I'll give him a pass for that. When he first told me that, I was like, okay, where's the story going to go? And if I had a daughter, I'd let her do whatever she wants me, so I'll give him a pass there.
But I think I'd have them removed before I actually got to the ball game in front of the other referees when you're dressing for the game.
When you're changing your socks.
There is such thing as nail polish remover. It's like $1.50 at Walmart.
What we're going to try to do, we're going to try to get our KLAK camera crew down there and maybe post some pictures of those purple toenails and put them up on the website at KLAK at 975klak.com.
Just bust into the locker room after the game. That's the best way to do it.
Maybe that will be one of John Leidy's jobs down there tonight.
Make him earn his paycheck.
Yeah, the Colony Cougars are coming out on the field now. A couple of captains are making their way out finally after we get through with Tommy Purple Toes Gilliam's story.
And what a pregame speech that must have been by Coach Rudy Rangel.
Well, and the funny thing is they're not. I might have expected that more out of Boyd than the Colony. What are they? All right, guys, we need to play spoiler tonight. It's going to be the key to your whole season. If we cannot, seriously.
Well, when you look at a team that's won 10 games though since 2003, a team that's on a 3-game winning streak, ending the season on a winning note, a 4-game winning streak. To take that to next year, that would be a big accomplishment for Coach Rangel and his Cougars.
Although, to be fair, there's a lot of seniors if you look down the roster.
Well, the captains for the Colony will be Kenneth Williker, Jeremy Wiseman, Jimmy Chafin, and also Tashim Dixon. Let's go down on the field with John Leidy. John? I believe the official is talking to the players now off mic, and here in a moment he'll tell John, go ahead and put your mic in the huddle, and he'll allow the coin toss, but he'll probably have a few words with the players here for a moment.
And that's the prerogative of the referee,
Sure.
I mean, it's his game, and he can manage it as he sees fit, and if he doesn't want what he's saying going over here, that's his prerogative.
And he's having a lengthy discussion with these with the captains for each team. Again, Philip Sears and Rusty Walton.
Team tonight, you get to call the toss. That's the head. That's the tail. So you call it. We'll agree on what he says, then I'll toss it. If I drop it, we'll do it again. Okay? Go ahead and call it.
Tails.
He said tails. It is heads. Boyd, you want to toss. It's your option.
Defer.
You want to defer? Let me give that signal.
And you can hear there that the
You want the ball?
Yes, sir.
So you guys are going to kick. You want to kick from this end, going toward the clock?
Yes.
You got to turn your backs this way.
all right, and there you have it. The McKinney.
Hey, Monty.
There's John.
Love the delay.
Well, I thought he had something for us there, but the McKinney Boyd Broncos, as you hear Philip Sears, and now he has something.
6-14. They're not 6-14.
Boy, this delay kills us sometimes.
Yeah, John's on a little bit of a delay down there, so we apologize. Weed actually didn't get exactly what what he said, something about 6-14. However,
well, I can tell you what it is. That Coach Drake's record 6-13.
6-13. Sorry, yeah. Maybe I'm looked. Yeah, maybe
I'll take the blame.
Oh, I see. Oh, it's a typo. It's a typo.
Typo. Yes.
Okay.
It's a Lottie-ism.
All right, now let's wait 10 seconds for a reaction on the sideline.
That's right. The Colony comes out through their tunnel, and they all take a knee at about the 50-yard line. And they all, it really looks like they're all saying a prayer, and then they get up and move down 10 yards. Now they go to their huddle.
Like I said, I mean, I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the locker room there for the Colony and to have heard what Coach Rangel had to say. I mean, he kept the Cougars in the locker room as long as he possibly could, and it seems as though they're still talking things over.
Yeah, the Colony Cougars look like they're here for business. They really do. And here's the McKinney Boyd Broncos, as you can hear, making their way through the tunnel. Big crowd here tonight at Ron Post Stadium, mostly in red and scarlet on the home side. Not an overly large crowd over on the far side for the Colony, but tip your hat to McKinney Boyd Bronco fans. There's a lot of them here tonight. We're going to take a quick timeout. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. A beautiful rendition of the national anthem by the McKinney Boyd Bronco Band. You can hear that one from miles away. And I believe it is football time in Texas here in McKinney, Texas at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd needing a win for their first ever playoff trip and playoff berth. And if that happens tonight, that will happen. The game will happen next Friday night in Carrollton at Standard Stadium against Richardson Pierce.
And we're all keeping our fingers crossed up here in the booth, hoping that one of the better games Boyd plays this year comes tonight.
And maybe that small uniform. We asked Coach Don Drake before the game, hey, if your young quarterback, Mr. Alves, gets away with this number 19 this week, is he going to be able to keep this? Is he going to keep going with that number even if we switch to uniforms? And he said yes, he'll wear that from now on. Now, we did hear from John Leidy that he may wear number 7 next year, but
by that time they'll get a smaller jersey for him to wear.
But don't
start to finish.
Yeah, and speaking of number 7, that's Travis Yarborough, and he'll be kicking off here. And the McKinney Boyd Broncos are defending the north end zone, and will be moving right to left. Now, this is the high pooch kick. Actually, it's a line drive short kick. It's going to be taken at the 22-yard line or at the right hash. And up the seam, breaks a couple of tackles, gets hit by the kicker. Shy of the midfield stripe at the 48-yard line is where the Colony Cougars will start moving left to right. And a nice return there. He found a seam, and on the return was Ethan Leikinger. And he basically busted through a couple of tackles and took a big Roy Williams-type pop from Travis Yarborough, but he kept going.
And I'm starting to notice high school teams more and more are figuring out ways to return that pooch kick. If you can get your blockers in the area, all they have to do is get past that initial first wave. And on top of that, they weren't in position to make tackles, and it ultimately was Travis Yarborough who had to really slow things down.
Call it the 49-yard line, 1 yard shy of midfield, moving left to right towards that north end zone. The Colony. Under center goes Perkins, the quarterback, and he wants to throw. Looking left side. Has a man on the quick out and is caught, turns around and spins out of one tackle up to the 45-yard line in McKinney Boyd territory. And just like that, a 5-yard gain for the Colony on first down.
Yeah, just a simple out pattern, but the pass was underthrown, but because there was such a cushion in the coverage, the receiver was able to come back to the ball, stumble a little bit, yet still get back to where he was initially when the ball was thrown.
On the catch was Zach Woolman, and he'll split out left. Coming near side is Trey Goodchild. And in the backfield, Tony Peoples, the second leading rusher in the district in 9-4A. And man goes in motion, the slot man from left to right. They fake the hand to him, give it to Peoples up the middle, and a big hole to the 40. Look out, 35 down to the 32-yard line. A first down and more for Tony Peoples, who came in tonight with 236 carries and 1,625 yards, 11 touchdowns. And he gets a big carry there for his first one tonight.
Well, and as you can see, the reason why he gets a lot of yards is as he has a really good offensive line. There was just a huge hole for him to run through, and he didn't get touched until 5 yards past the line of scrimmage.
Well, and a great misdirection play pulling the slot man in motion.
Well, Peoples looks like a tremendous athlete back there, 7 yards deep behind the line of scrimmage in I formation. Or actually, he's a lone back. 2 receivers to either side. Perkins wants to throw. He throws left, and it's caught again. And for a 9-yard gain up the left hash goes Woolman again. Came into the year only 2 catches for 19 yards. Well, that's his second catch already tonight on the first drive.
And I'm curious as to why out in coverage there on the far side, Lamar Peoples is giving just that big cushion, because if they do that all night, they're going to get just nickel and dime to death on these short passes.
Perkins again will send 2 men to either side. Actually, 1 man in the slot, and now an offset I formation to the right side behind the right tackle. An I formation behind the right tackle. You don't see that very often. Here's Peoples on the hand, and he's not going to go anywhere on this one. It'll be 3rd down and short. As give the McKinney Boyd Broncos credit there. They came up and handled that line of scrimmage, and Peoples with no gain.
Yeah, it's really tough to give a credit for the tackle there. That was really a gang effort, as the defensive line and the linebackers were able to condense in the middle and allow no hole.
Actually a loss of a yard there. We'll bring up 3rd and 2. 10-11 left to go in the first quarter, just underway here at Ron Poe Stadium. McKinney Boyd and the Colony, and Boyd needs a win tonight to reach the playoffs for the first time in their 2-year program. 2 men to the right side, 1 to the left. In shotgun formation this time is Perkins. Peoples stands to his left, right beside him, and he's going to hand off to Peoples up the middle, slicing his way for maybe a yard. It's going to be close to a first down. We'll check with John Leidy and see how close this is, but it looks like it may be just a little short, and no need to go down to John because it is about 2 feet short, less than a yard, and it's 4th down. We'll see what head coach Rudy Rangel tries to do here. It looks like they're going to go for it on 4th and less than 1 with 9:23 enrolling here in the first.
Must have no faith in the kicker at this distance.
Or a lot of faith in their quarterback, and he's going to try to sneak it over.
I don't
know. He didn't get a lot of yardage. This is going to be really close. And let's check down with John Leidy. John's probably got a really good look at this one. John, whenever you're ready, just pop on. Because we do have the delay.
On K-Lake.
And no sign of John. And they are going to measure here.
Guys, if y'all can hear me, this is actually going to be a little short in my opinion.
All right. John says it's short, and they're pulling the chains. We'll see how John does here. And they still are pulling the chains, still pulling the chains, still pulling the chains. And McKinney Boyd has turned them backwards. McKinney Boyd will take over at their own 22-yard line after stopping and slamming the door on the Colony on their first drive.
Now I'm really surprised with the play call because he's got a great field goal kicker in Jason Bueller. Bueller last week hit a 43-yarder. He's the third scoring field goal kicker in District 9 4A. So again, really surprised by the decision there by Coach Rangel.
Yeah, and it goes back to the matchup spotlight that I had in the pregame show. That the McKinney Boyd front seven did a lot better in stopping that drive. And just as we begin the first play of the Boyd series, there's the flag on the play right before it starts.
Of course, as always, probably false starts.
Usually 90% of the time it is a false start against the Broncos, so they'll begin at 1st and 15 instead of 1st and 20. I mean, 1st and 10.
So 1st and 15 here for McKinney Boyd on their first possession, and Alves is going to hand off left side. And that looks like it's Joseph Robinson on the carry. And early on, Joseph Robinson has a big carry that'll take the Boyd Broncos past the 25-yard line to the 20, in between the 26 and the 27. So a nice run there on 1st and 15. Will set up 2nd and 6 with 8:51 left to go here in the first. No score between McKinney Boyd and the Colony. Alves in shotgun formation, moving pretty quick here. Alves is going to keep it up the middle, and he spins out of one tackle. He could be gone, and down at the 40-yard line, I kind of got ahead of myself there as he had a big open seam, and he actually started stumbling towards the end of that run and fell at about the 41-yard line, and this is where they'll mark the ball. So move the sticks.
Has my nickname of Pinball stuck yet? I mean, that's literally what he was doing, was bouncing off people, and that's why he was stumbling, is he just bounces.
Alves again wearing the number 19 tonight, normally wearing number 8, but he's trying to find a smaller jersey so they don't rip him down by the jersey so much. Here's a handoff to the slot back coming across, and a great move by Pittman. Montarius Pittman fights out of one tackle and gains 7 yards on first down. It'll bring up 2nd and 3, and so far churning out some big yardage on the ground.
Yeah, the running game looks to be very effective, and it's been well blocked too. And that's the thing, is that the Broncos have some very skilled runners, and when you get the offensive line blocking as well as it has on these first few plays, you're able to do that and turn out those yards.
Here's a man in motion. That's A.J. Jones, and they're going to fake the hand to him. Alves keeps it around the left side. Gets a great block from Fuller to the 40, 35-30, 25-20, 15, down the sidelines. It's touchdown time in Texas. Darren Alves. But hold everything. There's a flag at the 42-yard line. This one's probably coming back.
And just as I was about to say, it looks like the new jersey's working.
And that was Jeff Fuller. I believe he's going to get called for that. I thought he had a great block turning his man in, but he may have been using his hands.
And this is one of the things that the only regret I have about doing high school games versus other levels is the fact we don't have replay here. Because I would really love to go back and see, because like you said, I thought the block was really good. Now, that said, I'm going to trust the official who was down there because he has a better view of it than I do. But, man, isn't that the disappointment? All of a sudden a big run called back.
Not only that, now your quarterback is completely gassed after a big run like that. And now he has to come back and try to run another play. It's not like you can just pinch hit for him or something like that.
I just have a feeling that Darren Alves isn't. Normally I would say that, but this guy, I just feel he could sprint a marathon.
If a big run happens like that by the tailback, they usually take him out, put somebody else in. But you're talking about a quarterback here, and you can't take him out of the game, or you don't want to anyway. 2nd down and 4, and Alves is going to pitch it to A.J. Jones, who puts it on the turf, and he's going to lose yardage. About 5-yard loss on the play. And speaking of A.J. Jones, we were talking earlier, and A.J. Jones originally was a McKinney Lion, before he came over to Boyd last year, and had some fumble problems with McKinney his sophomore year in his first game ever at Fort Worth Western Hills, and didn't get to play a lot because of those fumble problems. And here we are in the first drive of the night, and A.J. Jones gets credit for putting it on the turf here. McKinney Boyd does recover, however, and it's 3rd down and 8. And Alves wants to run again. He's spun down this time and still somehow gains a couple of yards, or actually gets back to the line of scrimmage. He was behind the line of scrimmage for the moment. That'll be 4th down, and McKinney Boyd will have to punt.
Yep, penalty.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
Well, you hate to see that on a play that was a sure 6 points.
Quick kick. Oh, now they catch it.
And Alves is probably going to boot this one away. Left-footed punter, and he does get away the punt. It goes over the head of the receiver, who now picks it up, and he takes off up the middle. But a nice play there by Jeff Fuller to bring him down at the 20-yard line. Fuller was right there. And returning that one was Jimmy Chafin, but Fuller brought it back to the 25.
Yeah, you'll have to forgive me. I think I might have overstepped just a little bit just because Chafin touched it as he was running away. The kick was a little longer, but he got a fortunate bounce, was able to pick it up and gain about 5 or so yards on the return before Bronco was able to bring him down. But, man, I tell you, Jay, little opportunities like that, not much they could do to take advantage of it.
Well, a 10-yard penalty turns out to be a 53-yard penalty because of the hold.
It's a 7-point penalty.
6:29 left to go in the first quarter. The Colony back with the football at their own 20-yard line. Perkins under center is going to hand off to Peoples, running left tackle, and gets a pretty good block out there. Peoples cuts it back inside now and flag down for the Colony, as what I thought again was another good block. Probably going to be a hold. It was a 10-yard gain, would have been a 1st down, but this one's probably coming back.
Maybe a little too good of a block.
Yeah, maybe. Could be.
Yeah, definitely holding. So, again, Boyd did it to themselves. Now the Colony's returning the favor. Going to be a 10-yard penalty. A nice run, in this case a 10-yarder by Peoples, is negated, so it's going to be 1st and 10, negated by a 10-yard penalty. It's going to set up a 1st and 20. Again, the Colony has the ability to get out of that. We know they have a good runner. We know they have a good passing game, and given the cushion the secondary is playing, hopefully they've adjusted that this series.
Perkins sends 2 men out to either side, moving left to right, now faced way back at the 11-yard line, at their own 11-yard line. Perkins goes under center, and there's some movement on the offensive line. That's going to be the left guard. Quillian Nero jumped a little bit early on that offensive line, and that'll back him up even further.
Well, that penalty will take him down to the 6-yard line, and for both teams, it almost seems like emotions running high for both teams because we've seen little ticky-tack penalties here early in this one.
Well, and the weird thing is what's the Colony playing for other than the role of a spoiler, whereas Boyd, on the other hand, you could understand because of the pressure being a young team trying to make the playoffs.
Down on the sideline earlier, we had a young man, little boy, told us that we needed to nominate Keith Owens for the Torchmark star of the game. It turned out to be Keith Owens' brother. So I don't know about that. Keith Owens got it a couple weeks ago. Here's Perkins running out of the end zone, and he's got some running room up to the 12 and down about the 14-yard line. Nowhere near a 1st down, as it was 1st and 24. So still a ways to go for the Colony, but that brings it out in, it brings it out of the death zone, I guess, if you will, as they're not having to bring it out of the end zone anymore, as bring it up to the 14-yard line. 5:23 and rolling here in the first. No score at Ron Post Stadium between McKinney Boyd and the Colony.
Well, by the law of averages, they got exactly what they needed on 1st down. An 8-yard run brings up 2nd and 16. If they can get 2 more plays of 8 yards, you got to start watching out if you're Boyd. Let's get a solid play here, make it really tough for them on 3rd down.
Peoples in the backfield on an offset I formation. Perkins under center, has a man go in motion. They fake it to him. No, they actually give it to the man in motion, and he'll gain a couple of yards out to the 22-yard line. Coming across from the slot is Jimmy Chafin, and on the season this year, he has 4 carries and 25 yards. Last week, he had 2 carries for 9, and that'll bring up 3rd down and about 9 here. Moving left to right, the Colony from their own 21-yard line.
Well, they got 7 on that play. So, they've been able to go from a 1st and 24 to a 3rd and 9, and you just hope to hear that they don't continue that trend.
2 receivers to either side on 3rd and 9. Perkins goes under center. Tony Peoples in the backfield. Boyd showing blitz, coming up the middle, pressure from the middle, throwing across the middle is the quarterback Perkins, and it's going to be incomplete at the 32-yard line. Going up over the middle trying to make the catch is Trey Goodchild, but he couldn't haul it in, and it'll be 4th down and punting time for the Colony.
Yeah, part of the problem, the reason why he couldn't bring it in was Bryce Perkins was under pressure and threw it just a bit behind him, so the receiver was trying to turn it around against the way his momentum was carrying him. And as a former receiver, I can tell you that's not an easy catch to make. Still hit him in the hands, so you should make it, but again, the difficulty is a little bit higher.
Philip Sears will stand at his own 46-yard line to return the punt of Alex Acrawl. Acrawl, a 39.6 average on the season. And the Colony having some trouble getting some people into the game. Now they do. Everybody's set. And Acrawl's punt is going to be a low end-over-end punt that almost hits the back of his line. And actually the Colony will down it because it was bouncing back towards them.
What a terrible punt.
The punt will stop at the 47-yard line in the Colony territory. So
22-yard punt.
A horrible punt by Acrawl will give McKinney Boyd the ball at the 40. Well, they'll actually give him credit to the 49. I don't know how, but they'll spot it. I'm sorry, the 44-yard line. Okay. So Boyd will have it at the Colony 44-yard line, moving right to left. And Alves fakes like he's going to run and then backs up and throws over the middle, and it's incomplete. He's trying to hit Mazer across the middle on the right hash, but the ball sailed over his head incomplete. I like the play call as Alves faked the run like he was going to run like he does so often, and then just took a little step back and floated it across the middle. Now, that's a dangerous pass.
Yeah. But and the thing is that the defense for the Colony wasn't fooled. There were 3 guys on the receiver.
Here's Alves, and he will run this time. Left tackle, sneaks out of a hole, cuts it up right side, breaks out of another tackle, down to the 28-yard line. Now they'll call it the 26.
The jersey worked right there. He was going for the jersey, and under normal circumstances, I think he would have gotten Alves.
So Darren Alves with the new tighter jersey look maybe gained 15 more yards.
And this shows you the complexity of this game sometimes. Improving your team is as simple as getting your quarterback a tighter jersey. You know?
1st and 10 after the big run. 3:49 left to go in the first. Alves in shotgun. Mazer stands behind him, and he's going to get the handoff. I think that's Mazer. And he'll make his way to the 25-yard line. And normally Mazer doesn't get a handoff.
Yeah, whenever he goes to the backfield.
That's not Mazer. I have to check that. I think that's Stanton Schmidt.
Yep. Yeah, I was just about to say, whenever Mazer goes to the backfield, he acts like a fullback. To basically block for Alves.
Yeah, that we haven't seen a lot of Stanton Schmidt so far this year. That's his first carry, I believe.
That I know
it's a 2-yard gain. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8. And now Mazer will come back in the backfield. And Alves is going to run it. He's under pressure. And now he gets to the left side, lowers his head, and just absolutely punishes the defender and goes out of bounds. Only maybe a yard or 2 on the carry, but wow, it just shows the power of this little guy.
He plays like a lineman. You know, he really does. I mean, first off, he was quick. You see, he gave a little stiff arm to the guy who was going for him in the backfield, pushed him backwards a little bit, but because he can get 0 to 60 so fast, he was already shooting up to the line of scrimmage while the other guy was still falling back.
If you can imagine this, he's 5'6", maybe a $160, maybe a $160, but he runs like Jerome Bettis.
Yeah.
And he's going to fake the hand here, throwing it down the field, looking for Fuller in the end zone, and it goes right through his hands. Now, Fuller was well covered, and he had to come back for the ball. He went up for it, and the ball simply went right through his hands as he was jumping up a little bit. So you can't really put too much blame on Fuller there, and really not too much blame on quarterback Alves, because it was a pretty decent thrown ball, but one that Fuller had to make a little adjustment for.
Yeah, Daniel Villegomez was really defending him fairly well right there. Fuller tried to Michael Irvin him, and it didn't work.
4th and 6, 2 receivers either side. They're going to go for it. Alves is going to run it, and he's under pressure at the 25, slowing down. Now he gets out of it, gets another good block. To the 25, to the 20, sneaking across the line, a flag down. He's going to be shy of the 1st down anyway, but the flag is probably going to be on Cameron Mazer, who was standing right there as the flag was thrown right at him. So probably an illegal block, but regardless, I don't think Alves made it to the 1st down marker anyway.
Generally, when you find a runner like this, you know, Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders brings up a good example that just all of a sudden he's doing one thing and a split second he's out doing it another, and actually it's on the Colony. So.
Hey, this is against the Colony.
Well, I'll just stop what I was saying.
Wow. It was thrown over there in the vicinity, as we mentioned, of Cameron Mazur. So, and obviously I was not looking in that direction. I was looking at Darren Alves running around the right side. It'll be a first down for Boyd, so the penalty hurts him on a touchdown earlier and gives them new life here.
Well, talk about a killer, too. Regardless of what yards it is, it's a personal foul, which is an automatic first down, and that's just something you don't do on fourth down.
First and goal from the 9. The officials waiting to set. Now they do. Start the clock. Alves in shotgun formation, 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. A.J. Jones goes in motion, stands behind Alves. Hands off to him up the middle. Jones fighting for yardage and down at the 6-yard line. And I thought for a moment the ball was going to pop out as A.J. Jones took a little extra step trying to get an extra yard. But he did hold on to it, and it'll be first and goal from the scoreboard says 7. It's pretty close to the 6.
Yeah, and the thing I liked about that A.J. Jones run is his feet never stop moving, and that's really a key to a running back. As soon as they stop your feet, all momentum's lost.
2 receivers either side. Alves in shotgun, sends a man in motion. A.J. Jones once again. Looks like the same formation as a moment ago. Fakes the hand this time, and Alves is going to keep it around the ride and gets punished at the 5-yard line and brought down there, maybe inside the 5 at about the 4. But regardless, it'll be third down and goal, and Boyd's still about 5 yards out.
Well, and that's just really illustrates the running style. You said he takes a kind of a punishment there. He still was able to fall forward. You know, I mean, this guy, this is unlike really any athlete I've ever seen at any level. He really is.
And now Boyd waiting on the play call from the sidelines. Again, Don Drake, a former offensive coordinator, said he likes a better view from upstairs, just now getting used to being on the sidelines. And Alves wants to throw it in the end zone across the middle to Fuller. Fuller catches it at the 1, tries to get in. It's touchdown time in Texas. Fuller fights his way across. And with 1:15 left to go in the first, McKinney Boyd strikes first blood.
Well, and that was a very dangerous thing that Jeff Fuller did, but if you're going to do it, that's the best area. He extended forward his 2 hands with the ball, and all the ball has to do is cross. Oh, and there's a penalty apparently on the Colony too. So
well, that will be declined, and once again, it's touchdown time in Texas. As now it'll be Yarborough coming on for the extra point to make this a 7-point ball game.
Yeah, so what the Colony tried to do on Jeff Fuller there was take the ball away, but all the ball has to do is cross the plane in your possession, and it did.
Here's a snap. It's on the tee. The kick is blocked, but there was a infraction before the snap.
Yeah, we had I believe it's going to be an offsides, one of those unabated to the quarterback type penalties. That's an automatic penalty. I guess not. It's actually going to be on the Broncos. False start. So it'll basically turn the extra point into a 25-yard field goal.
And John Leidy down on the sidelines has some information about that penalty from a moment ago that kept the drive alive, and we'll give you that after this timeout. After the extra point try, which is basically a 25-yard field goal now, it is on the tee. The kick is up, and it looks good, and it is. So Boyd has a 7-point lead with 1:15 left to go in the first. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the gang, including Jay Lindley, who has a scoring drive recap by American Bank of Texas.
9 plays, 44 yards, 3 minutes and 1 second, knocked off the clock. A 5-yard touchdown reception. Jeff Fuller, of course, starting the game the way they ended last week's contest.
And thank you for the American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap. Here's the pooch kick, going to be taken once again up the right hash, coming near side to the 30, making his way to the 35-yard line. And on the return is Logan Sorensen. Let's check down with John Leidy, who has some information about that block that kept the drive alive for the McKinney Boyd Broncos, and I believe it was Cameron Mazur in the area.
Guys, I've actually got an update on that penalty right there. It was number 28 for the Colony. He was actually hitting Cameron Mazur in the head as he was blocking him, and then when the play was over and he turned around, he actually punched him in the lower back, and the ref just said, hey, we're not going to have any of that out here. I'm going to go ahead and call the penalty on you now. Next time you're going to be out of the game. Back up to y'all.
All right, thanks a lot. That's a great report from John Leidy down on the sidelines.
I nominate that as Report of the Year.
The past 2 years, maybe. John does a great job. 1st and 10 for the Colony, moving left to right. 1:09 on the clock. The man in motion comes all the way across the field and handoff to Tony Peoples, left tackle. Look out to the 40-45 and trips up shy of the midfield stripe. There's a flag down at the 35, and we'll have to check and see what it is. Jamel Minor made the stop for McKinney Boyd.
Yeah, and they ran that. Remember, the last time we saw that play was the best run prior to that point by Tony Peoples, is that misdirection that got him with the penalties offsides on Broncos. They'll decline that. So what the Broncos are doing is taking the slot man who's coming in motion and getting the fake. They're keying on him, allowing Peoples to go in the opposite direction.
Well, and Peoples taking advantage of it. 6 carries now for 28 yards. And the 2 plays you just described, he's picked up 14 and then 13 yards on that particular run.
1st and 10 for the Colony, under a minute now, 47 seconds. Perkins wants to throw, looks right side in the flat and is caught, and not enough for the first down, about 3 yards shy of the first down. On the catch is Sorensen, and on the tackle is Parker Bolinas, and it's going to be 2nd down and about 4. With the clock rolling, it may have been the last play here in the first quarter. We're at 30 seconds now, and McKinney Boyd leading 7-0.
And right now, I think the big chink in the potential armor of this Boyd defense is the amount of cushion they're giving in the passing game. From what I've seen right now, it doesn't look like these guys can beat you deep, and yet for some reason they're playing 5-10 yards off them. 12
seconds. They will get another playoff here in the first quarter. 7-0, McKinney Boyd leading, and handoff to Tony Peoples, left tackle. He's got a first down and more to the 35. Look out to the 30, far sideline, to the 25 and out of bounds at the 23-yard line. And now they'll say a late hit, and a flag comes down on the out of bounds marker. The first quarter has expired, so when we come back, the Colony is going to be in great shape here, and Philip Sears is going to get credit for the late hit.
Yeah, you just got to play a little bit smarter than that. You know he's going out of bounds. Don't try to get a hit in on him.
That's the end of the first quarter. 7-0, McKinney Boyd leading the Colony. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
Start of the second quarter looming, and the McKinney Boyd Broncos lead the Colony Cougars 7-0. Brandon Helms, Jay Lindley, Monty Walker here, and Jay, we go back to the very last play that ended the first quarter. Obviously, the same play that we were just talking about, that misdirection, give it to Tony Peoples going the opposite way, another big gainer, and then add the Philip Sears 15-yard penalty.
Well, Peoples has been responsible for all 3 of the Colony's first downs, and those particular misdirection plays, all 3 of them have went for double-digit gains, 7 carries for 46 yards for Tony Peoples, and, of course, right now setting 1st and 10 from the 12-yard line.
Well, and the Colony's looking to answer the Boyd touchdown they just got. In good shape to do it here.
Well, we're in the second quarter, and here is the Colony at the 12-yard line of McKinney Boyd, moving right to left here. And now whistles and flags will be thrown before this one can get underway.
Maybe we should have talked a little bit about the penalties, because both teams really racking them up. That's the 4th penalty of the evening for the Colony at 35 yards.
Well, there's a false start there by the offensive line again, and right now, as many blocks as they've been giving, they're also taking it back in penalties.
One score to pass along up Highway 75 up north. The Battle of the Axe, probably the 97th annual, whatever it is up there. Anyway, it's tied in the first quarter, 7-7. The Battle of the Axe, Sherman and Denison. And now Perkins is going to toss it right side. Tony Peoples in trouble behind the line of scrimmage, fighting his way out, but can't do it. Maybe gains a yard or so. And it'll be 2nd down and long here. And now a late flag comes in again.
Well, you'd think it'd be the 4th quarter with tempers rising.
Well, McKinney Boyd obviously has everything at stake here tonight. Getting up late off the pile is going to be, I believe that was Ryan Garrett down there, and it's going to be against McKinney Boyd.
And it looked like some of the teammates were dragging Justin Cordova away. I don't want to say it was him, but that was the implication that I got. And because it's a personal foul, you're going to take them out of. They were at 1st and 15, didn't gain anything, would have been 2nd and 15. Now you give them an automatic first down. I mean, this is one thing young teams do. I can bet you a state championship Highland Park team doesn't make this mistake.
Well, at some point, you're not a young team anymore, and
sure,
you have to grow up. And a playoff team, I don't think you call a playoff team a young team. And they haven't made the playoffs yet, but tonight, if they win, you can't call them a young team anymore.
Well, especially considering if the penalty was on Justin Cordova, he's a senior.
Right. Well, it'll be 1st and goal from the 9. We saw this a moment ago from Boyd, and now the Colony has it at the same south end zone. 1st and goal from the 9. Perkins goes under center, fakes the hand to Peoples, in trouble behind the line of scrimmage, and he just dumps it. He tried to throw it, and he had a receiver in the vicinity. His back out of the slot back was in the vicinity, and he just mercifully threw it away, and it landed at the feet of his back. So there will be no infraction now. The coaches want that.
Well, I thought it was a lineman. Maybe if it was a back, that's understandable.
Yeah,
but he was throwing that away just to avoid the sack.
No, he was throwing to Destin Williams. Williams just had his back turned to him.
Okay.
The route had not been completed by the time Perkins had to let go of the football.
Well, in that case, smart play by Perkins.
Yeah, it's one of those plays I think you're taught from age 5. If somebody's in your face, just throw the ball. Just throw it anywhere. And
luckily it was
that's right. Fortunately, it was in the right direction this time. So 2 receivers come out to the left side, 1 to the right. Tony Peoples in the backfield, offset I, and Perkins will go under center on 2nd down and goal from the 9. Man in motion. Then they'll fake the hand to him, give it to Peoples, left tackle, fighting his way out towards the near sideline to the 5 and in the end zone. The Colony scores, and it's Tony Peoples again, and this time Peoples for his 12th touchdown of the year.
Well, you can give that touchdown to Peoples if you want to, but that was made by Zach Wallman. He was out there blocking the Peoples for the other team, Lamar, and was just all legally all over Lamar. He couldn't get around him whatsoever, and that allowed Peoples to get there. Once he got that corner, it was going to be up to Lamar to make it. He couldn't because of the block by Zach Wallman.
So give Peoples a 9-yard score there, and the extra point is blocked. It's blocked. And coming up with it is McKinney Boyd, but they'll be brought down at the 23-yard line. So, hey, that could be a big game changer there. As coming up with it was Miller Burns. 11:31 left to go in the second quarter. McKinney Boyd, due to that blocked extra point, leads here 7-6. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the gang here. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
6 plays, 64 yards, 1:44, knocked off the clock. A 9-yard Tony Peoples touchdown run, his 12th of the season. And with that, Peoples 55 yards rushing on 9 carries tonight.
American Bank of Texas, the key to your dreams. Here's the kickoff by the Colony. It's going to be sent high and deep to the right side, going back for it. I believe that's Jones who comes up the left hash, up the middle, and that's actually Joseph Robinson to the 30, to the 35. A nice return by Joseph Robinson up to the 36-yard line. Robinson was shot out of a cannon, and he has tremendous breakaway speed. And a nice return of about 30 yards there as he had to go back for it and do the Willie Mays catch over his shoulder. And when he did, turned around and turned the boosters on and shot his way up to the 36. It'll be 1st and 10 from McKinney Boyd moving left to right here in the second quarter.
Yeah, it's amazing that he was able to get the amount of yards he did on that return simply because his back was to the return team when they were coming down at him. You rarely see that.
Mazer goes in the backfield along with Alves, who wants to run it. Left tackle bounces out. 35 up to the 40 and down at the 42-yard line. A gain of 7 on 1st down, and Darren Alves never seems to gain anything under 7 yards.
Monty, I don't know if you have this or not. Does Cameron Mazer have a carry yet?
I don't believe Cameron Mazer has a carry in 2007, no.
Because I don't have that stat. And he goes to the backfield semi-often, so you would think that would start to tip off some defenses that, okay, we know who's going to get the ball.
Well,
but, you know.
Montarius Pittman will go in the backfield this time along with, and he'll get the handoff in a big hole momentarily to the right tackle side. And Pittman's brought down after about a half-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down and probably about 3.5, 4 yards.
Yeah, Trey Goodchild, the strong safety, was able to basically close that hole up fairly quickly. He read the play very well, came up, and, you know, that's a good strong safety can do that. You look like there's a big hole there, and if your safety's quick enough and reads the play at the beginning, can plug that hole, and that's exactly what he did. 3rd
down and 3.5 for McKinney Boyd at their own 43-yard line. Here's Montarius Pittman, who goes in the backfield with Alves. Alves under pressure now he initially wanted to throw, now he wants to run, cuts it up and has a 1st down to the 45-yard line in the Colony territory. And tell you what, anytime you need a big run or any big play, just let Darren Alves dance around in the backfield a little bit and then take off.
You know, I was almost thinking along those exact same lines. Why not throw more passing plays where he sets up in the pocket? 3 seconds rolls by, no one's open, run the ball. I mean, it worked out well, but then you got the linebackers in the secondary going backwards, and you get a huge hole open.
Jones and Pittman in the slot. Mazer, the stand-up tight end, off the line of scrimmage, and this time he's setting up the screen. And Alves rolls out, rolls left, throws across the middle to A.J. Jones. It's caught at the 33-yard line. There's a flag down, and I don't know exactly what this one's going to be. It may be an illegal man downfield.
Likely.
I was about to say there were 3 Bronco offensive linemen that were further down the field than the intended receivers, so I would assume that would be the call.
Yeah, and basically the reason why is a screen pass, so you have your offensive line. And by the way, did you see what Darren Alves, normally a quarterback running the screen pass, you see a bunch of wide. Somehow he made all 3 of them miss and then threw the ball.
Well, here's in your normal quarterback, you set up the screen and you run backwards a little bit, let everybody come at you, then you throw over him. The problem with that, he's 5'6". So
yeah.
You can't throw over him. You have to at some point move around him and throw the football if you're 5'6".
And the funny thing is, you still made those 3 guys miss.
And that's probably the reason that the offensive lineman went downfield, because they saw him flush out of the pocket, thought, hey, he's going to run. He always runs.
And it's designed to be a quick fire, and that's why they win.
Alves is going to throw here, and he throws a pretty good pass, but Jeff Fuller's feet comes out from underneath him, so that will be incomplete.
I'm going to have to slightly disagree. The reason his feet came out is because he had to go forward because the pass was just underthrown a bit. He is left-handed, so he's kind of throwing across his body there to throw to that left side to get to Fuller. So that's why the pass not the greatest.
After having his best passing game of the season last week, going 13 of 19, starting out tonight, 1 of 4 for 5 yards. Does have a touchdown pass, though.
Yeah.
Do stand corrected. I heard it was the 99th Battle of the Axe up there. Here's a flag before this one can get underway. It's second down and 15, and it's going to be against Jeremy Wiseman.
They're going to say a false start, but they drew Wiseman off. He came across the front line and nailed Rusty Walton. Apparently Walton, though, guilty of the infraction.
Well, he may or may not have been. Just because he landed on his butt doesn't mean that's the one who moved. So, yeah, it's going to be false start. But, again, another penalty. Now it's 2nd and 20 instead of 2nd and 15.
Second down and 20 now for McKinney Boyd as Alves drops back 3 steps, looks to throw across the middle, and Cameron Mazer hauls it in close to a first down at the 36-7-yard line, maybe a couple of yards shy of that first down. This has been a really sloppy game, Jay. Give us the penalty total.
Well, right now for Boyd, 7 penalties for 54 yards. As for the Colony, 4 penalties for 35 yards. And you're right, it has been sloppy on both sides of the ball.
Boy, think about what the score might be if Boyd was playing a little bit better penalty-wise. It doesn't seem to be hurting him as much. This is only their 3rd drive.
Well, they had 1 touchdown called back on a penalty. Here's Alves, and he's running right over right tackle, still keeping his feet going. And I believe that last effort gave him the first down as the official gives him a great spot.
Well, and he earned that spot because, like you said, his feet didn't stop moving. There was a guy on him who's almost twice his size and weight, and it was the linebacker Chris Broadstrup, and was all over him, and yet somehow he keeps moving.
Timeout on the field. We'll take 1, too. 7-6. Well, actually, whoa, wait a minute. I think it's going to be an official timeout for the measurement, as I believe Tommy Purple Toes Gilliam wants to get a look at this one here. And they're going to pull the chains. This is going to be really close. I do believe it will be a first down by a nose, and it is. So McKinney Boyd, that extra effort by the 5'6" quarterback will give McKinney Boyd new life here at the 35-yard line in the Colony territory.
And again, goes back to Alva's second effort. A lot of guys, when they're being wrapped up, don't move the legs as often.
Fuller in the slot now on the left side. Haven't seen that this year. Alves in the gun at the 40-yard line, drops back 3 steps, wants to throw in the slot. Fuller makes the catch at the 25, look out to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, in the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas. Fuller in the slot, caught the quick out, made it to the outside marker, in for the score. It's 13-6 awaiting the PAT.
Well, and the weird thing is that it wasn't the slot in the normal sense that he was 1 yard off the line of scrimmage, he was still right up at the line of scrimmage, and they still give him that big cushion. And the far receiver, who I wish I'd have caught but didn't, ultimately was able to spring the block on the man covering Jeff Fuller, and that allowed him to spring for the touchdown.
Yarborough on for the extra point. The kick is very high, and it's very true. It's 14-6 with 8:26 left to go before the half. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Back to Ron Poe Stadium. Monty Walker along with Jay Lindley and Brandon Helms. Jay, give us an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap.
8 plays, 64 yards, 3 minutes and 5 seconds knocked off the clock. The drive capped off by a 35-yard connection between quarterback Darren Alves and wide receiver Jeff Fuller. Fuller showing off why he's going to OU next year with that speedy run to the end zone.
Travis Yarborough is going to fake the Quail onside as they move up to the line of scrimmage and now back up a little bit. And with 8:26, the McKinney Boyd Broncos lead the Colony Cougars here at Ron Poe Stadium. And if they can hold on to this lead, they go to the playoffs for the first time. Here's Yarborough. He'll kick this one high and deep. It's going to, or actually not so deep. It's going to be taken up the left hash now, bouncing out. A nice tackle made by Cameron Mazer at the 29-yard line.
Boy, that is what you call a wedge buster right there. There were 2 guys on him. He was able to use his force, split the difference, and was able to make the tackle. And it doesn't get any better in open field coverage than that right there by Mazer.
So it'll be 1st and 10 now, moving right to left, the Colony. And Perkins, the quarterback, will have Tony Peoples in the backfield. And Peoples is he's a big, powerful, fast runner. He reminds me of some of those guys that the Denison Yellow Jackets used to put out in the late 90s and early part of this century and part of this decade. And here's the fake the hand to Peoples, and Perkins is going to have to scramble out, makes one man miss, and now he's in trouble and goes down behind the line of scrimmage. The ball pops out, but he was on the ground. Miller Burns was all over him in the backfield, and then I think he finally actually got back to him to make the sack.
Yeah, it's really nice to see him not quit. He's the one who made the initial pressure. Perkins made the nice spin move to get away from him, and then because he kept on the play, didn't stop, after a couple of more moves where Perkins was looking for something, sack was finally made.
Well, that ends up being a 5-yard loss as well, so now 2nd and 15, big drop.
You know, I was talking about Tony Peoples and who he reminds me of. He kind of reminds me of DeJuan Gentry from about the 1999 season up north around the Red River. And here's Perkins throwing the quick out to the slot, and it's incomplete. He was trying to hit his slot back over there, and his slot back's Jimmy Chafin.
Well, I almost looked like he was trying to get to his receiver, Zach Woolman, expecting an out, and Woolman ran right down the sideline. So one way or another, there was serious miscommunication there.
Well, Jay saw something different than I did. I thought he was throwing to the slot. Jay thought he was throwing to the wide out.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking, Zach Woolman.
And I guess the ball was thrown somewhere in between.
That's why it hit the turf.
Again, serious miscommunication.
The 2 receivers either side. Perkins wants to throw again across the middle, and it's, a great play by Philip Sears, who came in trying to hit Jimmy Chafin again over the middle. This time it would have been a first down. Philip Sears came in and knocked the ball out. It almost, if he didn't touch the ball, then it could have been a touchdown by Chafin, because the safety was over there in front of him now, and Chafin could have just turned around and took off towards the end zone.
But then again, Philip Sears with a really good read on the ball, and Chafin had no idea where Sears was, so that obviously gives him the advantage. And again, one way or another, well defended play by Phillip, and that's why this defense has been really good, in part because of him.
Here's Acrawl on a low line drive spiraling kick. Sears takes it at the 42-yard line, bounces it out, now spins around, comes around near side, spins again, and he's back where he caught it originally at the 42-yard line. So he'll make his way to the 43, so a 1-yard punt return. And
but he ran 15 yards.
Sears trying to get to the outside, couldn't do it. So Acrawl, a better punt than the last one. Still not a high kick at all, no hang time whatsoever, but it does the trick as McKinney Boyd will have the ball at their own 43-yard line with 7:10 left to go in the second quarter, and McKinney Boyd leading 14-6.
Well, now that the Colony punted, it really shows off how well the defense is playing against this really good, solid offensive team for the Cougars.
Alves in the gun. Mazer stands right beside him. And actually that's Schmidt, and Schmidt gets the handoff, and he goes nowhere. Maybe a yard loss will bring up second down at 11. 7 minutes on the clock. 14-6, and more flags come in. A ton of flags come in after that play.
Do these teams hate each other?
Well, I don't know. Remember Don Drake worked over there for a long time at the Colony.
Yeah, but you wouldn't think that would play a factor with the kids.
No, you wouldn't think at all. And something's going on down on the field that probably John Leidy is aware of, and we'll try to talk with John here in a moment and see if we can find out what's going on. Scores to pass along Highland Park over West Mesquite 10-7. That's in the second.
Offsetting penalties as unsportsmanlike on both sides. So
Rockwall Heath over Greenville 21-0, and that one is in the first. And another score to pass along would be Texarkana over Paris 21-6. That one 9 minutes in the second quarter. 6:41 and rolling here in the second here at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd Broncos leading the Colony 14-6. And on second down and 11, Alves is going to hand off. No, he's going to keep it around the left side. And he's got some running room, and he's got the 45, and he's got the 42-yard line. They'll actually say his knee hit at about the 44, so nevertheless, a first down. And now, ladies and gentlemen, with that carry, Darren Alves goes over the 2,000-yard mark in 2007.
It's amazing. 10 games, and the 10th isn't even finished.
Wow.
The crowd has no idea.
What an explosive young man. Here's Alves throwing it to Fuller. Fuller makes his way up to about the 35-yard line, shy of the first down by a couple of yards on that far side. Again, McKinney Boyd moving left to right towards the north end zone here at Ron Post Stadium. And I believe John Leidy has something for us down on the sidelines. John, go ahead. When you're ready, John.
Guys, I actually do, and I actually got this straight from Reese Redmond. He said the reason they've got so much animosity towards the Colony is they almost beat them last year for a victory last year, and they're on kind of pins and needles going into tonight's game. Back up the
Here goes Alves to the 15, to the 10, cuts it to the inside, high stepping in the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas. Darren Alves, an incredible run around the left side, and it's touchdown time in Texas again. 20-6, McKinney Boyd leads awaiting the PAT.
Well, that just shows you how solid a runner that Alves is. He didn't high step to showboat. He high stepped because he knew the guy behind him might have been able to take him down by the ankles. Again, just a solid run off left tackle. Nothing really fantastic except who the runner is. Looked to be about a 36-yard touchdown run.
And the extra point is true, 21-6. McKinney Boyd looks like their way to the playoffs next week. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Jay Lindley, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
4 plays, only a minute knocked off the clock, 57 yards covered, and a 36-yard touchdown run by Darren Alves, his 23rd of the season. 123 rushing yards so far tonight, putting his season total at 2,045 rushing yards.
Unbelievable. And here's Yarbrough, and he's going to fake the Quail onside kick. Thank you very much for the American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap. American Bank of Texas is the key to your dreams. Here's the kickoff. It's a high pooch kick, and it's going to be taken at the 30-yard line. No fair catch here. Running across to the far sideline. Only Parker Bolinas chasing, and out of bounds goes Daniel Villagomez. And the Colony will have pretty good starting field position here in the second quarter. Trailing 21-6 to McKinney Boyd. They'll start at their own 45-yard line.
Well, you can tell we're both white guys. We've both said the name Villa Gomez. I believe, and the sad thing is I took Spanish in high school, so I should know this, and college.
It's Villa Gomez.
Yes, because you got the double L.
Another score to pass along. Sherman now over Denison, 19-14, with 2 minutes to go in the second. Up in Grayson County. 1st and 10 for the Colony, moving right to left. And Peoples in the backfield. 3 receivers near side now. One goes in motion to the far right, and they're going to fake the hand to him, give it to Peoples to the left side, and he's tripped up by Jamel Minor at the 45-yard line. He plunges forward for another yard, but a great play by the linebacker coming over and stopping Peoples.
Yeah, and Monty, I want to go back again to that matchup spotlight. You really have to think that the front 7 for the Boyd defense is just really playing a much better game and beating the front 5 for the Colony's offensive line. I mean, they've just been played amazing. They're in every gap. They're in every block. And is there a player down?
Yeah, I believe that is Jamel Minor now. I saw him get up for a moment and walk back towards the huddle, but apparently he went back down. Jamel Minor, the leading tackler on the team for McKinney Boyd, with 72 coming in, is being attended to at about the 48-yard line, just on the north side there of the stripe, and now he's going to walk off under his own power. So
looks like one of those situations where he might have been winded. He kind of, when he was made the tackle, extended himself and landed straight on his gut.
A lot of people don't know that Jamel Minor and A.J. Jones are brothers on this football team. And we was talking in the senior spotlight session this week that it is like a family. Not only is it like a family, it is a family.
And to some degree.
With these two guys at least. 5:35 left to go in the second quarter. The man goes in motion for the Colony, left to right, and he'll get the hand moving to the right side. Cups it up to the middle now, and maybe about a yard on the carry. And that'll be Jimmy Chafin who gets that carry. And that'll bring up third and about 8.
Okay, so I'm seeing a little bit more chippiness out there, not anything worthy of a penalty. So when we asked John, the Boyd, he thinks that the Boyd is a little bit chippy because they thought they could have won last year. But why is the Colony like that? You know, I mean, I don't know. For teams that haven't played each other but once before, there seems to be like a big kind of rivalry game.
Perkins under center, and he's going to drop back 3 steps. Now he's under pressure. Eludes the sack, now throws it down the field. It's tipped at the line of scrimmage and falls incomplete. On the tip is Reese Redmond, the middle, or actually the nose guard. Redmond got his big old paws up there and deflected that when it falls incomplete.
Well, and it's a good thing he did because Perkins was throwing to his wide receiver, Zach Waldman, who was alone in the secondary, not a Boyd defender around 5 yards, and he was beyond the first down marker. So Redmond saving the drive there for the Broncos.
Alex Acrawl back to punt, will stand at his own 35-yard line. One good punt and one bad one. And this is about a mediocre one. It's going to bounce at the 20 over Philip Sears' head, rolling towards the end zone and diving for it, trying to push it back out, but not able to do so is the Colony and a defender down there, and I didn't see exactly who that was, but a nice effort, but comes up a little short. McKinney Boyd will take the ball at their own 20-yard line after it goes in the end zone.
Yeah, it's one thing I don't like about the Cougars jersey is the numbers are really small, and especially when they don't turn the shoulders, we can't see it very well.
They're a lot like the McKinney Lions jerseys from 2004. Real small, narrow, rounded numbers. Really hard to see.
Glad I never called those.
They're almost exactly like those, to be honest with you. And here's Alves in shotgun formation. Handoff, Pittman up the middle. Well, now he moves over to the right guard. Only a gain of about 1 to the 21-yard line to bring up second down and 9. 4:28 left to go in the second quarter. Actually, as Joseph Robinson on the carry for McKinney Boyd. 4:23 enrolling here in the second quarter, and McKinney Boyd leading 21-6.
Monty, it's really amazing to me that this Bronco offense has had so much success because they really haven't changed a lot since the first part of the season. It's a really simple option offense that goes through Alves.
Alves wants to throw this time, is now chased out of the pocket, and actually they do grab a hold of that little tiny shirt now, and he will go down. One of the few sacks on the year for Darren Alves and McKinney Boyd, and that'll back him up a little bit. 3rd and 12 for the Broncos.
Well, if you're going to sack him, that's really the best way to do it. You know, they didn't come from pressure on one side because he's usually going to be able to elude you in the open field. It was like deflating a balloon. The pocket just kind of scrunched all the way around him, and when he doesn't have room to make moves, that's really the best way to limit what Alves can do.
3rd and 12 now for McKinney Boyd, moving left to right from their own 18-yard line. Alves throws it in the flats to Jeff Fuller, trying to dance a little bit, make some people miss, and he can't do it, as he will make his way up to about the 22-yard line, but well short about 8 yards shy of the first down. After the sack, they were pushed back. So it'll be 4th and about 8. It'll be punt time for McKinney Boyd.
Well, you got to think that since this is the first punt on their 5th drive of the game, the offense is working really well. They've been able to put those 3 touchdowns up on the board.
Jimmy Chafin will come in to return this punt. And going back deep to punt it away from McKinney Boyd, standing inside the 10-yard line will be Travis Yarborough. Now Chafin will stand at his own 42-yard line. Also going back will be Trey Goodchild. Kind of flanked, so 2 returners here. And it's a high snap. Yarborough brings it down. It's an end-over-end punt that's probably going to go out of bounds, and it does. Not a great punt, but you don't have a return when you kick it out of bounds. So the Colony will take over at the McKinney Boyd 43-yard line, moving right to left with 2:31 left to go before halftime.
Only a 21-yard punt, so not a lot of leg there shown by Yarborough.
Yeah, but the thing is, the way the defense has been playing, boy, you got to think that while obviously you give up a lot in the field position game with a small punt, your defense is more than up to the challenge so far today.
Woolman near side, Goodchild to the far. 1 man in the slot to the near side. And Peoples in the backfield. Perkins under center. Offset I. 2:31 and rolling, or 2:31 actually in the second quarter. Handoff, Peoples running left tackle like he always does. And he's got some running room to the 30, to the 25. Cuts it inside to the 20, and now gang tackled at the 15-yard line. A nice run by Tony Peoples all the way down to the 15 from the 43. As you hear probably Mike Bruck in the background, the PA announcer, a 28-yard run.
Well, and I was wondering how long it'd be before they ran that misdirection play. Jimmy Chafin coming from his slot position on the left side, basically kind of doing the end-around thing, and the Boyd defense basically blocks on it. And so basically what happened is Peoples has the defense going one way and able to go around the other side.
1st and 10 for the Colony, moving right to left. Somebody moves a little early, but there are no flags. Peoples gets a handoff up the middle, spins out of a tackle down to the 5-yard line. Peoples is really quick and elusive and appears to have great vision as he had a man coming up to his left side. He just made one nice shifty move to the right, and that cleared the guy and gave Peoples an extra 3 or 4 yards inside the 5-yard line.
All right, as our smart Alex sideline reporter wants to point out, I made a mistake. Apparently, Boyd has already punted twice today. I was only thinking of the time where they lost it on the penalty. I was thinking they turned it over on downs and said it was a punt.
The quick kick.
Yeah, so still I was right. They've had 5 drives, and 2 times they've not scored a touchdown.
Well, there's a timeout on the field. We'll take one, too. 1:28 left to go before half. 21-6. Boyd leading the Colony. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium, where there's a $1:28 left to go before the half, and McKinney Boyd leading the Colony 21-6. Jay pointed out a pretty good stat for the Colony earlier.
Well, Tony Peoples, the real deal. He's accounted for all 5 of the Colony's first downs. Their only touchdown, and right now 12 carries for 94 yards. So
most of it's coming on that misdirection play.
And he's ran left tackle just about every time tonight. And this is a full house backfield. 1st and goal from the 5. Perkins under center. Handoff, Peoples up the middle. Now he bounces it out left. And now some great defense by McKinney Boyd. Stop him right at the line of scrimmage and turn him back. And Lamar Peoples and Ryan Garrett, the initial 2 there to push Tony Peoples back at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, easily get confused there. And again, they didn't do that misdirection play, and you take that one play out, and the Boyd defense has really defended Tony Peoples and the offensive line very well. You just got to start reading that play. Don't get fooled by the end around. Of course, the minute they don't get fooled is the minute they hand it off, and it's a good play.
If you're wondering if the 2 are related, Tony Peoples and Lamar Peoples, their last name is spelled differently. Here's a great play by Miller Burns to sack the quarterback way back at the 17-yard line. They'll give him forward progress to the 15, but I don't think he was going forward at any time. The quarterback, Perkins, faked the hand and was bootlegging around the right side, and when he turned around, right there was Miller Burns.
Boy, Perkins is hating seeing that 29. He's been in his face a lot today.
Timeout on the field. We'll take 1-2. 21-6. Be back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium, where McKinney Boyd leads the Colony 21-6. There's 38 seconds left to go before the half, and the Colony is threatening to score here, but a great play by Miller Burns to really knock out the quarterback on the bootleg. As soon as when the quarterback, Perkins, he had his back to the line of scrimmage as he was rolling out. Never saw Miller Burns. As he was turning, Burns just lit him up.
Not fooled by the play fake at all.
And now it's 3rd down and goal from the 15. Perkins drops back 5 steps, looks across the right, under pressure, throws towards the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Colony. Over there in coverage for McKinney Boyd was Jacob Sigler. He tried to dive for the ball to knock it out and apparently just missed his time, and the ball got there on the money in for the score.
Well, and that was going to be an all or nothing for Sigler. There was going to be no chance he was going to make the tackle because he was already in the end zone, so he was going for the only thing he could do, and that's knock the ball away.
Now another timeout's been called. We'll keep it right here.
I was going to point out that the Colony, up until that play, was 0 for 4 on 3rd down conversions. They snapped all of that right there.
So why'd you even bring it up? You would have
well,
looked good.
I was going to, but I wasn't able to get it in. Of course, Chafin becoming the first Cougar of the night, other than Tony Peoples, to get a first down and also score a touchdown. So,
yeah, like I said, Jacob Sigler, it goes back to a concern that I brought up earlier. The defense is playing really loosely out there at the line of scrimmage, giving them a little bit too much cushion. And you saw what happens right there. If the pass is on target, especially in that part of the end zone, it's going to be a touchdown unless you make a miraculous dive.
Well, you know what happens here. I mean, they take the timeout here to set up the 2-point conversion. What are they going to run here? It's 21-12, and obviously they're going to go for the 2 right here. As Brandon shakes his head, he never likes to see the 2-point conversion.
Well, in this situation, maybe not, because the extra point has failed twice.
They have converted 1 2-point conversion this year. It was Tony Peoples. Imagine that. It was Tony Peoples who converted the 1 2-point conversion.
And I bet he ran over left tackle. And everybody in tight, double tight set. Perkins goes under center, and now somebody else will call a timeout. It'll be McKinney Boyd because they saw what they lined up in. McKinney Boyd says, well, now we know what you're going to do. We'll call a timeout, and we'll think about it. And why don't we do the same thing? 21-12, 32 seconds left to go before half. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. McKinney Boyd back out onto the field, and we'll see if the Colony changes their play now. They had a double tight set with Perkins going under center, and McKinney Boyd said, well, we need to call a timeout because I think we were looking for something else. So they come back out now, and now it is not a double tight set.
I figured they'd do that.
As the Colony changes their play, there's 2 receivers to either side and another timeout by Boyd. So now they've seen 2 different formations. They probably took the timeout. Don Drake took the timeout and said, hey, we weren't ready for the double tight. Let's get ready for the double tight. So they go get ready for that. They send their troops out there for the double tight set, and the Colony runs out there with the slot receivers, and then Boyd is like, hey, we weren't ready for that. We got to change our defense here.
Well, you can't carry the timeouts over into the second half. You might as well use them. 32 seconds. And this is a very big 2-point conversion. I mean, you've got to get this one right because if not, then the Colony is back within a touchdown.
Yeah, you still have your 3 timeouts, though. With Darren Alves, you can still run the ball. And I don't know that necessarily – first off, it's 2 points. It's usually a 50-50 proposition one way or another. And second of all, if they get it, you're still up by a full score, and now you're going to have to hurry it up on offense anyway, and that's not a strength of yours. So, there's pros and cons to both sides of the issue.
Well, we'll see what the Colony comes out with this time. And it looks like it's going to be the slot receivers again. No, a 2-back set, something we haven't seen yet from the Colony. They run out under center, goes Perkins with 2 backs in the backfield. And he wants to throw to the right side. Now he's under pressure, flushed out, rolling left. Now he wants to throw again into the end zone. It's incomplete. The 2-point conversion is unsuccessful, and McKinney Boyd prevails on the extra point try. 21-12. We'll take a timeout with 32 seconds. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
Boy, I feel for Rob trying to go around your fat butt.
Well, but he's sitting right here, so he can do it.
I'm sitting there going, I was trying to show you who it was intended
Well, I
for.
saw the light right there, so I'm looking at him to see, and then all of a sudden
we can take a minute here.
Monty's blob comes in front.
Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and Jay Lindley and John Leidy. How about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap, Jay?
5 plays, 43 yards, a minute 59, knocked off the clock. A 15-yard connection between quarterback Bryce Perkins and slot receiver Jimmy Chafin. It's Perkins' 11th touchdown pass of the season.
And the all-important 2-point extra point was no good. So it's 21-12. And this will be Alves, I believe, on the return. And Alves will take it up to the 27-yard line, be pushed back by about 7, 8, 9 Cougars from the Colony.
Man, I've never seen that many on a return in on the tackle before. And you know what? With Darren Alves, you almost have to.
Yeah. So there's 24 seconds left to go before the half. And Boyd leading 21-12. And you'll see what Don Drake has up his sleeves here with only 24 seconds left.
How about Alves just running down the field as fast as he can? I mean,
That's probably about what will happen.
It'd be easier to do that with your other timeouts.
And Mazer will go in the backfield now. You know he won't run the ball. He hasn't had a carry yet, but he's a good blocker. And he gets one here for Alves, who dances out to the 40-yard line. Now cuts it inside. Gets away again. Shy of the midfield mark to the 48-yard line. And, oh, my goodness, what a run by Darren Alves.
Will he end up with 7,000 yards career rushing? You know, I mean, he's on his way to 3,000 at this rate.
all I'm going to say is I called it.
He may check out early. He may leave after his junior year.
And they took their final timeout, did Boyd.
Well, there's 15 seconds on the clock and a spectacular run by Darren Alves, who broke at least 7 tackles.
Well, let me tell you right now, if I'm the coaching staff for the Broncos, while they're sitting in the huddle, I go, okay, first down, I want you to run this play. Second down, I want you to run this play. Third down, I want you to run this play, because if you get a first down, you're able to get right back to the line of scrimmage. Hopefully, as soon as that clock starts rolling, you're getting the play going again. That way you get a game plan going, because if you're not prepared for your next play, you know, you're going to waste, at this point, 3-4 seconds, and that's a huge amount of time with what's left on the scoreboard.
Well, I'll say Alves has a realistic shot at going over 2,100 yards on this play. He's got 2,054.
Well, they're 52 yards away from pay dirt.
Got a chance.
And Jeff Fuller split out wide left. Look for him. Alves in the gun. 2 receivers to either side. Grant Gibson on the near side. And in the shotgun, he wants the ball, and he gets it, drops back 3 steps, looks near side, now looks to Fuller. Down the field, a short pass that's intercepted at the 25-yard line. Going up the field and now dragged down. The ball comes out. The ball is on the turf. And I believe the Colony was able to recover it. There is 2 seconds on the clock, and there will be a change of possession. The ball was intercepted and then fumbled, and then the Colony recovered. And on the recovery was Daniel Villagomez, and I believe he's the one that intercepted it.
Was he trying to do a Trinity Millsaps type play? I mean, it looked like that was a pitch, but it went straight up in the air.
Well, it leaves 2 seconds on the clock, and that was Darren Alves, I believe, his 12th interception of the year, and it is.
I got to tell you, if you're doing that, you only want to do that at the end of the game because, you know, they almost lost the fumble there, and that would have given Boyd the ball inside the 30 with a play left.
Well, they'd have had to hurry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, now here's Perkins with 2 receivers at either side, and he's got Peoples in the backfield, but he wants to throw it, and he throws it on the quick out and making the catch. Now, I thought he was going to do the Trinity Mills pitch back, but he is taken down, and that's Jeremy Chafin who makes the catch at the 35-yard line. And that is the end of the first half, and McKinney Boyd fans got to be happy. They lead here 21-12 at Ron Post Stadium over the Colony. McKinney Boyd wins. They're in the playoffs. They lose. They go home. Back in a moment. 97.5 KLAK.
Yeah, probably. But at the same time, boy, you just look at how these guys are playing. They know what's on the line, and you know what? They're getting it. They're getting the job done, and you got to say, this is exactly what you hope for to start the game. Now you just want them to do the same thing to finish it.
You know, we talked about the basketball team. We were joking kind of a little bit about that, but there is some big news about the volleyball team around these parts at McKinney Boyd, and John Leidy will tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, you were speaking of McKinney Boyd having some success in their. You were speaking of McKinney Boyd having success, and the Lady Broncos volleyball team is actually playing tomorrow night at Cedar Hill High School. If they win that, they win their region and end up going to the state tournament next weekend.
Well, how many teams are left playing, John?
There's a total of 8 teams left, so they're ranked in the state. I guess you could say they're in the top 8.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations to the McKinney Boyd Broncos volleyball team. As on that volleyball team, there is a young lady who's our tutoring club scholar athlete of the week, and we'll mention her name in just a moment. Right now, we're going to take a quick timeout. Actually, Brandon has something.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, another one of the volleyball team was a tutoring club athlete of the week, or scholar of the week, rather, a few weeks ago, too. So apparently they get it done on the court and the classroom.
Well, and we'll go ahead and mention it now, and we'll bring it up later as well. The tutoring club scholar athlete of the week goes to an outstanding scholar athlete, obviously, and this week it is Jenny Ringquist. On the court this year, she has 177 kills, 47 blocks, and 59 digs. In the playoff match Tuesday night, Jenny contributed 7 kills and 5 digs in the victory over Red Oak. Off the court, Jenny is ranked number 21 in her senior class. She serves as the co-vice president of the Environmental Activist Club. She's an active member of the National Honor Society. Jenny Ringquist, our tutoring club scholar athlete of the week.
About to say an activist.
Wow. Yeah.
She's involved in everything.
Well, right now, the Colony is involved in getting back on the football field along with the McKinney Boyd Broncos. We're going to take a quick 30-second timeout. 21-12, McKinney Boyd leading the Colony. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium, where it's 21-12. The McKinney Boyd Broncos leading the Colony Cougars tonight. And McKinney Boyd will now be defending the north end zone. And moving right to left, they'll receive the kickoff here. As you remember, they won the toss and deferred. So going back deep here will be Jeff Fuller in the middle, Darren Alves on to his right, and I believe that's Joseph Robinson to the left side of Fuller, who's in the middle. And doing the kicking for the Colony, as always, is Jason Guler. He had a 43-yarder last week, and he's also the kickoff specialist at the Colony.
Well, that makes you think, they opted to go for it on 4th and 1 deep in Boyd territory. If they kick the field goal instead, it's a 21-15 ball game.
Jay Lindley, you might be happy again as Sherman looks like they're handling Denison 37-24 in the third now in the Battle of the X. Here's the kickoff. It's a high kick that's going to be taken. Actually, it might go out of bounds, and Darren Alves lets it go out of bounds at the 15-yard line. It bounced at about the 19 over on the left side, the far side of the field, and it bounced out, so probably re-kick this one.
There really is a good point, Jay, you talk about, because the very first drive of the game, the Colony was looking real good, picked up a couple first downs, and then, they had a 4th and 1 and they couldn't convert. And then ever since then, Boyd has really been beating them to the punch. And then to top it all off, they get the ball to start the second half, too.
And now we'll re-kick with Fuller coming up a little bit. With the pooch kick, you'd think that you think that Alves may just roll up a little bit, and because they're going to kick it short, and now Alves does roll up a little bit, standing at the 15-yard line.
I'd just kick it to the other side if I'm the Colony. I do whatever I can to keep it out of his hands.
I might make Darren Alves my Otis Nixon and just make him catch it wherever it is. Center field type. And Guler will kick it off again, and this time he kicks it to the right side, and that's going to be Robinson coming up the left hash. And Robinson, with that dashing speed, makes it up to the 36-yard line. A nice return. Mark Howard brings him down, but a nice starting field position for McKinney Boyd, moving right to left from their own 37-yard line.
Well, it looks like they took my advice, kicked it away from Alves. But, pick your poison. While it's not necessarily the same thing, definitely a different style runner.
When exactly did you give them that advice?
Just now on the radio. Apparently the coach staff's listening. You know what? That's something smart to do. Listen to the broadcasters.
Yeah.
They know what they're talking about.
They might be 6 seconds behind, but
or 10.
Here's Alves in the gun, moving right to left, fakes the hand, wants to run right guard, lowers his shoulders, now bounces out of a tackle, makes his way up to the 41-yard line. An incredible even though it's a 5-yard gain, it's an incredible run. Every time the man touches the ball, something spectacular can happen.
Should have been a 1-yard loss, and you're exactly right. And I've got the, I think it's the Who song about the pinball wizard stuck in my head, because it's really what he just bounces all over the place.
2nd down and 6, just underway here in the second half. And Alves is going to hand off this time, and that's Robinson, who will gain a yard or 2 up to about the 43-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and probably about 3 yards here. As you can hear the McKinney Boyd band really well. The entire band is on the track, and they're facing the booth. So our microphone that's pointed outside is actually pointed right at the band. That's why you hear the band real well. Normally they're in the stands.
Pointed the other direction.
Pointed the other way. And here's Alves wanting to throw left side, and he's got Robinson. It's caught at the 50, shakes the tackler to the 45, down to the 41-yard line. A 1st down for McKinney Boyd. They move the sticks, and now inside the Colony territory at the 41-yard line. 10:39 left to go in the second half. 3rd quarter, actually, is what I'm trying to get out, and McKinney Boyd leads 21-12 here at Ron Poe Stadium.
Monty, you look at the way that Darren Alves has thrown the ball this game. He's really come a long way. And you go back to the first game we did at Springtown. All he is able to do is throw it up and let Jeff Fuller get it. Now he's able to throw more passes.
Cameron Mazer in the backfield. He gets a block for Alves, who spins and turns and slips after he gains about 3 yards. He had some running room, but it looked like his feet came out from underneath him.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And, to finish on that point, I mean, he's a great athlete. There's no question about it. He can do a lot of great things with his legs, and he's able to improv very well. You start to do that same kind of thing with the passing game, and this kid's his value would just shoot up tremendously.
Mazer now in the slot, man in motion coming from the far side. That's Pittman, stands behind Alves, and he fakes the hand, and Alves is under pressure. Now he's behind the line of scrimmage, bouncing out, trying to get out, and he's going to lose a yard. Could have lost 8 or 9, as that's how far he was behind the line of scrimmage at one point, but his speed and quick moves got him the outside corner and got him back to the line of scrimmage. It'll be 3rd down and 9.
Well, every time I see a play like that, I go back. There's a guy who used to be a really great running back who lost more yards than anyone else, and that was Barry Sanders. And the styles are very similar, and I think that's the same thing. You lose a yard here, but he'll gain 10 in a minute.
Alves wants to throw on 3rd and 9 across the middle. Mazer over the middle, and it's just out of his hands. A sure touchdown at the 12-yard line. And the ball just went off his fingertips.
Boy, and that was almost a perfect pass by Alves. And the problem is that as a receiver, that's one of the most difficult catches to make, running toward the goal line with your head over your shoulder because you're having to bring it in while you kind of lose the depth of where you are. But like I said, a good pass from Alves because he hit Mazer in stride.
I'll tell you what, Cameron Mazer has been a key part to this football team this year. Here's Alves on the quick kick. Boots it away towards the Coffin corner, and what a great punt at about the 3-yard line. They'll mark it at the 2, and now here's the line judge, and he'll mark it out at the 4-yard line. Alves trying to hit that near corner and does. What a brilliant punt.
I just commented on how his passing game is getting better. The funny thing is he's a better punter than he is a passer. Oh, my God, that was just a woo!
That was a great punt.
I lose my train of thought whenever he, does a great play on the field, but at the same time, he can do it with his foot too. I mean, gracious.
9:08 left to go in the 3rd quarter. 21-12, and Colony pinned deep at their own 4. Handoff up the middle, and look out, Tony Peoples to the 15-yard line. He's quick. And he's near a 1st down. It's going to be real close. And Tony Peoples over the 100-yard mark now. Again, the Colony moving left to right here in the 3rd quarter. Trying to, if they score here, you get a little concerned about this football game. They got a long way to go, though, at their own 15-yard line. 8:50 left to go in the 3rd quarter. Handoff, Peoples again. Big hole over the right guard. makes a couple of defenders miss, has the first down up to the 28-yard line. And Tony Peoples is quick and very powerful. Philip Sears on the stop for McKinney Boyd.
Well, and Monty, he's more dangerous in the open field than he is at the line of scrimmage, and the reason is simple. You look what he did. Besides from those misdirection plays that really gained the bulk of his yardage, he was contained at the line of scrimmage because he wasn't able to find a hole. These last two plays, the offensive lines open up a great big hole, allow him to get into that open field.
Handoff, Peoples, right guard. This time McKinney Boyd does a great job of stuffing those holes you were talking about, Brandon, and this will be a gain of maybe a yard and a half. It'll be second down and 8.5 with 8:13 left to go in the third quarter. McKinney Boyd up 21-12.
You know, and that's one of the best ways to really stop any running back. Just don't give them a hole to run through. And there's some running backs that are more dangerous in the open field than others. And so in a case like this, we have a really great open field runner. It's really incumbent to stop him from getting into that open field.
Trying to figure out what is on Tony Peoples' helmet.
I was wondering that too.
We'll get John Leidy to try to figure that out. Here's a counter play to Peoples and a great play in the backfield. Jamel Minor, the linebacker, wasn't fooled at all by that counter play as Peoples got the hand, and immediately Minor was there to bring him down. A loss on the play. It'll bring up third down and 11.
Yeah, and that was, not quite the same misdirection play that they'd run before with the slot receiver coming in motion like he's doing an end around, but still, just like you said, a counter play, and it's encouraging to see the McKinney defense read it that well.
Three receivers to the right, one to the left on third and 11. And Perkins wants to throw, drops back, throws it across the middle, and it's intercepted at the 30. Philip Sears to the 15, to the 10. It's touchdown time in Texas. Philip Sears on the pick. And he runs it back to the house with 6:59 left to go in the third quarter. And Boyd goes up 27-12.
Boy, oh boy, that's a great example of team defense. I think the initial receiver was coming from the slot pattern running and out. That was well covered because they didn't give him that cushion that I talked about they had been doing before. The outside receiver was covered, so he's looking over. Philip Sears reading the eyes of Perkins, the quarterback, really well, steps in front of that pass and had a nice open hole to run through. Easy touchdown for the senior. And, it's great. He used to be the quarterback, and he really struggled last year, but he is by far one of the best safeties in the district.
Yeah, last year passing, he was 19 out of 74 for 272 yards. Not a passer anymore. Here's the extra point, and it's good. 28-12. McKinney Boyd in the lead. 6:59 left to go in the third. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLA game. Philip Sears makes his push for the Torchmark Corporation Player of the Game with that interception. Jay, do we even need to do an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
Well, it was real quick. A 34-yard interception return for a touchdown by Mr. Philip Sears. It should be noted, though, the Colony failing on that third down conversion. They are 1 of 6 tonight on third downs.
Tells you a lot about what McKinney Boyd has been doing on third downs. Playing great defense tonight. 28-12. McKinney Boyd in the lead with 6:59 left to go in the third quarter, and Travis Yarborough is about to tee this one up. And, that could be the clincher. You never know when things like that, but
definitely a big momentum swing, that's for sure.
There's a low line drive kick. It's going to be taken and dropped and then picked back up at the 20-yard line by the Colony. Makes one move, and now he's trapped and in jail at the 26-yard line. Now the ball's on the turf, and McKinney Boyd has recovered. The ball was on the turf, and coming up with it was Cameron Mazer. Anytime there's a big play, Cameron Mazer seems to be involved.
We talk about Darren Alves a lot, and, rightfully so. But, one man can't make a team a playoff contender, no matter how good they are. And, he is surrounded by guys like Cameron Mazer, like you said, Philip Sears with an interception. We've called Justin Cordova's name a lot. Jeff Fulton. There's just a lot of players on this team who make plays. And, some of them were there last year who are doing well. So, obviously Alves a big addition. But, like you said, Mazer's a great example. Come up with a fumble recovery there.
Well, here's Alves in shotgun formation. He hands off up the middle of A.J. Jones. Look out. To the 15, to the 10, to the 5. Dragging people down at the 1-yard line. The ball comes out, but A.J. Jones was on the turf.
Well, he was close to him. You know, again, it's really great to root for seniors in their last home game, the last regular season game, especially on Boyd when there's, you know, just got to hand it to him last year. And boy, you were so hoping he could find that last yard and a half to get there. But you know, again, another great run. The offensive line blocking really well. Boy, it's a feel-good time right now.
First and goal from the 2. It's 6:38 left to go in the third. McKinney Boyd looking to add on here. Full house backfield. Alves wants to run, dives over the top. Is he in? It's touchdown time in Texas. Darren Alves dives over the top. His 5'6" frame somehow goes over. And McKinney Boyd dancing their way to Standard Stadium next week. 34-12, they lead the Colony here.
Yeah, back-to-back turnovers, one directly resulting in a touchdown, the other leading to a touchdown. And I like the way they started the half this time around than they did last time, where a couple of penalties really hurt them.
The extra point is true, 35-12. McKinney Boyd leading back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium, where it's 35-12. McKinney Boyd leading the Colony. If they win, if McKinney Boyd wins, they're in the playoffs. If they lose, they go home. Right now, it looks pretty good. Jay, how about an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap?
2 plays, 25 yards, 21 seconds knocked off the clock. A 2-yard Darren Alves touchdown run. It was set up by a 23-yard A.J. Jones run.
And Yarbrough's going to kick this one. The high kick going to be taken at about the 14-yard. Dropped again, and he picks it up again. Runs to the left hash, now comes up the middle, and finally, well, no, he's still not going down, and finally brought down at the 27-yard line. And that dangerous returner is Philip Benning. Twice he's caught the ball and then dropped it and then picked it up, and he fumbled the last time. And this time, at least he was able to hang on to it. We need to check down with John Leidy. I want to know what's going on with Tony Peoples' helmet and try to figure out what that – there's a big yellow blob on his helmet, and I want to try to figure out what that is. And we'll come down to you after this play here. It's 6:18 left to go in the third quarter. This is an offset eye look for the Colony. And now a man moves left to right, chafing in motion. Peoples gets the handoff up the middle and brought down immediately. A great play at the line of scrimmage. I believe that's the linebacker again, Jamel Minor. And we won't check down with John Leidy right now. Ryan Garrett also there to make the stop, but Minor with the big hit initially. It'll be 2nd down and 10, call it no gain.
Well, and again, the defensive line coming up really well. You know, just not letting any hole get through there, or let any hole get made to allow Peoples to get through there. And man, you got to feel they're starting to feed off that energy and momentum.
I'm trying to look at Peoples' helmet, and he has a yellow blob. It looks like maybe the paint is just coming off. Maybe it was a gold helmet before. And here's Perkins wanting to throw, and he throws it out, and it's caught at the 33-yard line, and Chafin makes the catch. So a gain of about 3 or 4 yards. And now John Leidy has his headphones on, I believe, and we'll check down. What is that blob down there, John? And maybe he is listening to us. Maybe he's not.
Guys, that blob on his helmet was actually gold. From my perspective, this is the way it is. And it was painted black for the Colony, and that paint is just coming off, just like you had said a while ago. Back up to you.
All right. Thanks, John. 2 receivers to either side. Perkins wants to throw. He throws it across the middle. Doesn't get a block at all. And right there, and the ball's on the turf. McKinney Boyd says they have it again. And no indication yet, no signal yet, and it's going to be either incomplete or down by contact.
Incomplete, so he never had possession. And again, that's a 3rd and long situation, so the Colony really not helping themselves out. And I tell you, when I watched that first drive, watched them get a few first downs, saw how prolific they were in the district. Well, I wouldn't have thought they're struggling. And I don't know if that's necessarily they're struggling or the Boyd defense has just risen to the occasion.
Well, the McKinney Boyd defense has given up 245 points this year, but they really haven't been blown out by anyone. They do enough to win. And here's Sears. He has the ball go through his arms. Now he picks it up. Now he's in jail, trying to fight his way out. He's going to go down. There's tons of Colony Cougars right there to bring him down. So the forward progress will give McKinney Boyd the 31-yard line. So they'll be moving right to left from their own 31. and leading 35-12 here in the third quarter with 4:34 left to go in this quarter.
Now, you really got to think that this is playing into the hands of the Broncos because they know how to run the ball, and all they're really going to have to do is just grind it out on the ground. Now, the problem is you got to tell Darren Alves not to run for 20,000 yards. Just say, you know, we need 5 yards here.
According to Jay, he already has.
You know, but in all seriousness, hey, don't chalk up a 50-yarder. Let's just grind the clock out.
Two receivers to either side, and Robinson goes in the backfield along with Darren Alves, and Alves is going to run to the right side. He's got some room. Up to the 40, makes a cut to the 45, out to the 50-yard line, and finally drugged down across midfield into the Colony territory at the 47-yard line. Another big gainer by Darren Alves, and on the night rushing, it's just starting to get crazy.
Yeah, of course, it was a 22-yard run. I'm not going to be the one to tell Darren, hey, just get 5 yards and fall, but, you know, I mean, he's a fun kid to watch.
162 yards on 19 carries so far tonight, so well on his way to another 200-yard game.
Man.
1st and 10 from the Colony 47, and here's a handoff up the middle, and I believe that's Robinson who gets the hand there, and that's about a 4-yard gain on first down. I'll bring up second down, and about 6, maybe 7. Call it a 3-yard gain. 4:03, 4:02 left to go in the third. McKinney Boyd leading 35-12.
You know, maybe that's how you have to do it. You know, just don't let Darren Alves run the ball. You know, give it to his running backs rather, who will get those 5 yards.
Maybe the lineman after the night's over.
Who knows? Yeah, give it to everybody.
Coming in motion, that's Montarius Pittman. And Alves is running around the left side, and he's finally brought down. There's a flag down now at the line of scrimmage. But that's really the first time tonight that Alves has been brought down on that. It's almost a quarterback sweep. He runs just off the outside of the left tackle's hip or the right tackle's hip, and he gets it in shotgun formation and just takes off.
Yeah,
and sometimes he'll have a pitch man there, and sometimes it's just a straight dive or sweep.
And you're right, and it's the same blocking scheme, and you know there was a penalty on the play, and it was holding against the Broncos. And Jay, if I'm not mistaken, that's the first one of the half, right?
Yeah, that's the first one after having 8 penalties for 54 yards in the first half. That is just the first penalty of the second half. Still yet 9 penalties for a grand total of 64 yards.
Go ahead.
So you got to like the way at least that Boyd has come out of the locker room and really settled down and taken control of the game.
Lake Dallas over Frisco 28-0 in the fourth. Sherman over Denison 43-24 in the third. And this will be second down and 15 here, and Alves wants to throw. Heaves it down the middle. Wide open is A.J. Jones, but also there's the safety, and he picks it off at the 25-yard line. And Austin Chapman, the freshman, makes the interception, and the Colony will take over possession at their own 32-yard line.
Well, and again, that's if there's a chink in the, to use that cliche for the second time in his armor today, it's the passing game, and that's his 13th interception of the year. So, obviously we sing his praises a lot. It's well-deserved. If there's one thing he needs to prove on, it's the accuracy. I mean, he's got the arm. We've seen him throw a long distance. He just needs to make sure that he throws to where the receiver has a reasonable chance of catching the ball.
First down and 10 for the Colony, now moving left to right here in the third quarter. 3 receivers to the near side, 1 to the left. And Peoples in the backfield by himself, Perkins under center. From their own 32-yard line, the Colony. And now McKinney Boyd comes up to play man coverage, and Perkins throws it out in the slot, and on the quick out, making the catch for the Colony is Zach Woolman. And Woolman came in with 2 catches for 19 yards. And that'll be a 9-yard gain on first down. Other scores to pass along of note: McKinney over Frisco Centennial 24-21 now. That one at the end of the third quarter. And we also have Highland Park 30-14 over West Mesquite. Ryan over Denton 34-0. Here's the quarterback. Perkins spins out of a tackle behind the line of scrimmage and throws it across the middle. Is it complete? The receiver, Chafin, caught it, but he had to dive for it. The ball may have touched the turf, but they're going to give him the catch. No, now they're going to bring it back. It's incomplete.
Well, it's a shame for the Colony, too. He was wide open to break down in coverage there. And if Perkins is able to accurately get it to him, I mean, that's big damage.
Well, the reason he was not, it was because of the pressure that he received from the interior 7 from McKinney Boyd, including Reese Redmond and company.
Third down coming up. The Colony 1 for 7 on third downs tonight. As for Perkins, typically a good quarterback, 60% completion percentage tonight, 6 of 14.
Third down and 1 here for the Colony. Moving left to right. Offset eye, handoff Peoples left guard, and he's got the first down and more up to the 45-yard line. So he passes the first down mark by about 2 or 3 yards.
Peoples, he's just been tremendous moving the chains. He has accomplished 8 of his team's 9 first downs so far tonight.
Well, when you hand the ball off to him, he's a big, powerful running back, and he's fast, and he's shifty, and he appears to have good vision. You know, this is a team, if I were in charge of that offense over there, he'd get more touches than what he's got tonight.
19 carries for 119
That's still a lot of carries.
Yeah, and the reality is, under most circumstances, the passing game functions a lot better than it has today. So make an adjustment, you know.
Well, handoff Peoples again, and this time Jamel Minor meets him behind the line of scrimmage. Or is that Garrett? And Minor and Garrett in there to make the stop. The two linebackers working side by side, and they'll actually give him forward progress of about 6 inches.
Well, that's exactly what you want to see from your 2 interior linemen. You know, just coming up in the middle interior linebackers, just coming up into the middle like that, making the play, because that means obviously your defensive line, Jay, is able to hold their blocks at the line of scrimmage.
Let's check down with John Lighty. I believe he has something for us. John, real quick.
Guys, I have a little update down here. I want to say that at the end of the third quarter, look for number 7, Travis Yarborough, to come back in at quarterback to take over for Derry Nowles. Back up to y'all. All
right, another catch has been made, and that this time by Zach Woolman on the right side. Woolman, not woman, but Woolman. And that'll move the sticks inside McKinney Boyd territory, and they'll mark it at the 35-yard line. So if they score here, if the Colony scores here, I'd be interested to see if Yarborough will come in. If they do not, I might be able to be more likely to see that, I would think.
Yeah, because at this point, it's really good to feel good about the 35-12 lead, but that's only 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, here's a handoff to Peoples, running the left tackle, breaks through a seam to the 25, down to the 23-yard line. And the safety comes up along with Jamel Minor, makes the stop. Sigler is there, the transfer from Allen, senior safety, makes the stop. $1:14 on the third quarter clock. McKinney Boyd seems to be cruising along here, 35-12, but the Colony now on a really long drive.
And in the end, really, that does work out to the Broncos' favor because they're taking lots of time off the clock.
6th play of the drive, right, or 7th right here.
1st and 10 from the McKinney Boyd 25-yard line. Perkins back to pass, under pressure now, rolls right in jail, and he's sacked in the backfield. At the 27-yard line, Keith Owens.
Ball hit the turf, but the Cougars jump back on it.
Keith Owens' little brother down at the corner end zone before the game told me, hey, you need to give Keith Owens the Torchmark Corporate. I don't think he said Torchmark, but
he just said
nonetheless.
He did, sure he did.
He said he needs to be the player of the game. Well, he gets another sack. He was the player of the game a couple of weeks ago.
Well, I had to break it to the little brother. That's not an honor we give out lightly. You have to earn that one.
By the way, little brother looks like he might be a defensive lineman at some point.
Little brother was tackling a few kids on the sideline.
2nd and 14, 8 seconds on the third quarter clock. Coming in motion is Woolman, and he's going to get the hand coming. No, they give it to Peoples up the middle, and if it weren't for one of his linemen or slot receivers, he'd have had a lot bigger gain. He trips over him, but gets to the 19-yard line. That's the end of the third quarter. McKinney Boyd in position here tonight at Ron Poe Stadium. They lead 35-12 over the Colony. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Poe Stadium, where the Colony has it 3rd and 6 to begin the fourth quarter, moving right to left, man in motion. And Chafin is going to get the hand. No, they give it to Peoples up the middle. Ball's on the turf at the 20-yard line. Are we dealing with the Tony Romo slick ball here tonight all of a sudden?
Well, the handoff wasn't quite what it should have been because I saw Peoples. That's where he started juggling with it, and that's where it hit the ground. Apparently, I'm not sure if Perkins isn't getting it in the breadbasket or if, normally you don't blame a running back because, that's just second nature to him. So there's a problem. just say that. There's a problem between the exchange.
Well, it's 4th down and 6 now for the Colony. And they have to go for it here at the McKinney Boyd 20-yard line. You've got to get some points on the board here.
Well, and you just got to wonder what that would have done, if you'd have got it in his breadbasket.
Peoples goes in the slot to the right side along with 2 other receivers on that side. No man in the backfield. Perkins goes under center, drops back 3 steps, 4 steps, 5 steps. Happy feet, throwing across the middle. It's caught for a first down, and it's caught for a touchdown. He juggles it, actually, but they're going to give him the touchdown. He was juggling the ball as he went across, and I thought for a moment the ball hit the turf.
It did, but he caught it at first. That is the 4th time on that drive that they fumbled the ball and got it back.
And it's Zach Woolman who makes the catch and goes in for the score.
Man, it's like they dodged a lot of bullets on that one, and this is the point. And you have to go for 2 because you have to know at some point if you're 3 touchdowns down or 3 touchdowns and a field goal away from winning.
And they will go for 2 here, and if Tony Peoples can't get 2.5 yards, and I have a hard time believing it. If I had a weapon like him, I might go for 2. Like Darren Alves.
Well, you remember earlier, though, they passed it in that situation. Didn't work out.
And part of the reason why is because the running game doesn't function as well in the 2-point conversion because you're working in a much more condensed field. Now, when you have an athlete, you have an athlete, and if he's your best player, which tonight I don't think there's a question he's your best offensive player, you find a way to make him put it on his shoulders.
You have to get the ball in his hands some way or the other, whether you snap it to him or hand it off to him. You've got to get the ball in that guy's hands.
Well, and you wonder, he was lined up in the slot, were they trying to throw to him?
And that's so that's why McKinney Boyd is so dangerous, because their best offensive weapon, the ball goes through his hands on every play. And I think, you saw McKinney North doing that, a couple of weeks ago with David Douglas. You've got to get your best player, you got to get the ball in his hands every play. And now there's a delay here, and what they're doing is, I believe they took a time. No, they didn't take a timeout.
Well, the referees were talking with the Colony's coaching staff on the far sideline, and I gotta wonder about what.
Well, they haven't put the points on the board.
Oh, yeah, game the touchdown.
So the ball is at the 2-yard line.
I'm still confused.
There's no touchdown. Maybe the juggle, I'm not sure. But they hand it, oh my goodness, Peoples dives over everything. It looks like a high jumper. But this time he goes into the end zone, in for the touchdown. No question about this one.
No, that was the 2-point conversion. The scoreboard screwed up.
Is that what it was?
Oh,
no, that was a touchdown. Now they're lining up for the 2-point conversion.
Well, the announcer called it a touchdown.
There was no touchdown on the previous play, and we'll try to get clarification. And John Leidy's looking right at us. And when we come back from break, we'll go to John. And for the extra point, here is up, and it is true. So we have a 35-19 ball game. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with Brandon Helms and John Leidy and Jay Lindley. And Jay has an American Bank of Texas scoring drive recap for us. On KLAK.
Long drive for the Cougars right there. 11 plays, 68 yards, 4 minutes and 13 seconds. Tony Peoples with his second rushing touchdown of the day, and Bryce Perkins now over 50% completion, 9 of 17 for for just 94 yards.
And now we'll check down with John Leidy, who will tell us what happened on that touchdown. John, go ahead.
Okay, guys, a little explanation on that. Player A, being the wide receiver for the Colony, cannot gain forward progress on a fumble without another player either from Boyd or from the Colony touching it before he does. So if player A fumbles it, player A cannot recover it for forward progress unless someone else touches it. Back up to y'all.
Okay, that's a great explanation.
Boy, I might nominate that also sideline report of the year.
John Leidy's had 2 phenomenal sideline reports tonight, so the listener, you got to. And you don't know it, but you've been in for a treat tonight.
Woo, go John.
John's a great guy. All right, here's the kickoff down to the goal line. It's going to go into the end zone.
Where's that been all night?
Yeah. That was a pretty good kick by Gueller. and it'll go out of the back of the end zone. So McKinney Boyd will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
When you look at the flags, they're almost virtually still. So you got to wonder if he has the ability to do that every kickoff. Why aren't you doing it? You know, automatically take it at the 20, don't give a chance on a return. I mean, I think that's something you'd want to do.
So we'll call that, what was that play? Illegal touching? Is that what that is?
We'll give it. It makes sense.
All right. Here's Alves leading his troops with 10:51 left to go in the game. And he's going to run to the right side, and he's trapped after about a 1 or 2 yard gain up to about the 21-yard line.
Actually, I don't know if we call it illegal touching because there wasn't a penalty on it. You can't advance it, so that's where the ball's dead. So
2nd down and 9. 10:30 and rolling in this football game, and McKinney Boyd leading 35-19. And we don't see Yarborough out there, as John mentioned we might. I think that's
said
due
we
to
would.
I think that's due to the touchdown.
Yep.
From a moment ago. And here's A.J. Jones in motion. They fake it to him. Give it to Alves. Up the middle. Alves keeps it, and he makes his way to the 40-yard line. Another 1st down, and Alves has got to be nearing the 200-yard mark now.
On that run right there, he is going to be just a few yards short right now, sitting with 178 yards rushing on the day.
Still tremendous.
Yeah, just not 20,000.
Not 20,000 yet.
Well, we have fun here in the booth.
7,000 yards, huh?
I think you can do it. I mean, think about it. You know, you give him a chance at playoffs, and who knows what he can do at 5A, but you know, he's only going to get better.
Schmidt comes from the slot position, and he'll get the hand up the middle, and he's got a little hole, and he dives over for about 3 yards.
Yeah, his legs were taken out. There's no question about it. You know, going back to the only thing that's really going to limit his gains in rushing yards is his ability to pass a little bit better. You know, if Alves can become a little bit more accurate, they'll throw the ball a little bit more, which means he'll rush it a little bit less. But I think we can all agree he'll get 3,000 yards the next 2 years. I think that's fairly pedestrian, I guess, for him. You know, it's just going to be a matter of where the yards go.
If he can stay healthy.
That too.
2nd down and 7. Under 9 minutes now at Ron Post Stadium. Handoff, A.J. Jones. Nope, Alves keeps it, spins around, turns around, finally goes down. A 1 yard loss. And some, well, actually it'll be a 3rd down and about 8 now.
This is the point in the game where if you're Boyd, you don't snap it till there's under 5 seconds left on the play clock.
Oh, a game up in Grayson County now, 43-37.
Wow.
Sherman on top.
You know, we should have known, Battle of the Axe.
Yep, every year it's something like that, every year. Here's Alves, drops back now. He's going to run out of the pocket, and several Colony Cougars are there to meet him. Or should I say several The Colony Cougars are there to meet him.
Who knows?
It'll be 4th down and 9, so Boyd will have to punt it away here. They lead 35-19 at Ron Post Stadium over the Colony, and if they can hang on, they pretty much tap dance their way to Carrollton next week over to Standard Stadium to play Richardson Pierce in the 1st round.
Well, we always seem to end up there. Every year we've had a playoff game over there.
McKinney North played over there 2 years ago.
And last year, right? No, you're right.
Well, the center moved, so you don't see that very often. The center, Michael Tharby, lifted his head before he was going to snap the ball, but this may be against the Colony. We'll have to see.
It looks as though that Alves was going to come out and quick kick. He's done that twice tonight, averaging 40.5 yards a punt.
Wow. It'll be against the Colony, so a 5-yard infraction will not be enough for the 1st down. But the ball will be at the 45-yard line in Boyd territory, and still, you're going to have to punt this one away still.
Well, the answer to my question is going to be have to ask you, does 4th and 4 change anything for you? Obviously still given the inherent risk. And they don't have anybody returning.
Well, they do have Rusty Walton snapping now, so a different snapper here. And Alves is in shotgun formation, and Montarius Pittman will come in and stand behind Alves, and they do quick kick it away, and I thought that was going to be blocked.
No kidding.
Ball is going to be caught at the 22-yard line and taken down immediately by A.J. Jones. A tremendous open field tackle by the senior running back / slot back, and apparently / great open field tackler.
Well, and you got to think that somewhere along the way, Jimmy Chafin has got to call a fair catch, because that's in a situation where you could turn the ball over. And we've seen what the turnovers have done to the Colony here in the second half.
1st and 10 for the Colonies. They come out here moving right to left. 7:15 left to go in the game. They trailed McKinney Boyd 35-19. 3 receivers near side, including the running back Peoples, who moves over from the running back position out to the slot. And Perkins wants to throw down the field. Has his man caught by Woolman to the left hash to the 40-yard line. About an 18-yard gain on 1st down. And Perkins now looks like he's clicking pretty good at that quarterback position.
He's completed his last 4 passes, now setting 10 of 18 on the day, and now with over 100 yards passing. All this after at one point he was 5 of 12.
And 3 of those came on the first 3 passes of the game.
Two receivers near side, 3 to the far. Perkins drops back 7 steps, comes up 3. Throws it across the middle, and Philip Sears almost intercepts it again.
Well, if I'm Perkins, I'm watching for Sears, because anything across the middle, right now he's got a pretty good eye for. Last play he was able to make the tackle, or at least be in on the tackle. He wasn't able to jump in front of the ball, but one was an interception for a touchdown, and that could have easily been an interception if there wasn't a little bit of contact.
Well, Sears had it go in and out. It hit him in the bad place, right in the numbers. And it fell incomplete. 2nd down and 10, 6:49 left to go in the game. And this is going to be a handoff to Peoples being chased down. Peoples slips out of a few tackles. A great run for a 1st down inside McKinney Boyd territory to the 48-yard line. Lamar Peoples makes the tackle on Tony Peoples, and that'll move the stick. 6:42 left to go in the game. McKinney Boyd leading 35-19, but the Colony not giving up here. Running their 2-minute offense. Perkins throws again on the run. Now in traffic, now in trouble behind the line, being chased down, throws it away. That'll be a flag. He was chased down by Ryan Garrett, and the flag comes in.
I'm wondering if because the referee didn't throw it right away, he ran up to where the line of scrimmage, or rather where the ball hit, and obviously it was behind the line of scrimmage. Now, I say that there shouldn't be a grounding pass, and it's going to be a penalty because he was in the process of throwing, but he had somebody wrapped up on him. How can you honestly expect a good pass if somebody, say, has their hand on your forearm? At some point, and it happened last week on both sides where I thought that should have been the case. You have to give the quarterback a little leniency.
Well, at least earlier on when he threw the ball away like that,
sure,
he just happened to have a guy in the area. In this particular situation, there was no one within 10 yards of the ball when it hit the turf.
Right, but there was somebody upfield that he was throwing to, and again, it comes back. If I have my hand on your forearm, that's.
But then you have to use judgment. Was he really throwing to that guy,
sure,
or was he just throwing it away?
And it looks like they changed it because now he's waving it off. So, again, it's valid points on both sides. And you know what? And if I'm a referee and if I'm going to err, I'm going to err on the side of not throwing a penalty.
And Don Drake is getting an explanation right now from the official.
And and I like that from a coaching standpoint, because whether you agree or whether you disagree, or let's say he thinks that is the right call, you still kind of have to work the officials. Hey, what's going on? And that way they keep fresh. And
and you have to remember it's old purple toenails over there that probably saw that best. Tommy Gilliam.
Cut up some slack.
Here's Perkins dropping back to pass. Under pressure, rolls right, throws it across the middle, and it's caught by Chafin for a 1st down at the 35-yard line. And now the Colony moving the ball at will. It may be a little too late here as they trail 35-19 with 6:20. But
yeah, this has been about a minute drive so far, and they set the ball down, get the play clock started, and within 2 seconds the ball snapped. They're about to do it again.
We'll have some scores to pass along here in just a moment. 1st and 10. And this is going to be a handoff to Peoples, right tackle, big hole, 30, 25 to the 20. Makes a cut to the 20, to the 15, and down at the 12-yard line. So another first down and another big run by Tony Peoples. Scores to pass along Lake Dallas, leading Frisco 42-14 in the fourth. Highland Park over West Mesquite 38-14 in the fourth. And Frisco Centennial on top of McKinney 31-24. That's in the fourth.
Oh, that's turned sour fast.
6:05 here, and this is a handoff to Peoples, and he's taken down inside the 10 at about the 8-yard line.
See, and that's something that Boyd really needs to do, is stop him from getting a first down on first down, because right now the clock's still running because it was a run, and at the same time they still have to set the ball. So that, it'll take at least 15 seconds off the clock.
Perkins wants to throw, drops back 3 steps, looks left, and under pressure, and sacked behind the line of scrimmage. Ryan Garrett, the linebacker. He's had a tremendous game tonight.
Boy, both interior linebackers have had a very active game.
Both were senior spotlights this week.
Maybe that's what it is.
There's a timeout on the field. We'll take 1-2. 5:30 left to go in the game. Boyd on top, 35-19. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. A big score in Grayson County. Look out at the Battle of the Axe. Denison 44, Sherman 43.
Dang.
2:10 left to go in the fourth.
You can tell who he's rooting for.
19 straight points for Denison.
I'm just looking for a game.
Wow. It's 35-19 here. Boyd looking to go to the playoffs. We got to fight off the Colony, trying to score here. Perkins drops back, wants to throw. Looking right, a fade route of the end zone, and it's incomplete in the back right side of the end zone.
Well, that does one good thing for the Colony and stops the clock.
That was third down, and Jay had some third down information.
Well, going into that play, the Colony 2 of 9 on third down conversions, now 2 of 10. Of course, that might be a little bit surprising, but the last 2 drives, the Colony hasn't faced many third down situations. 35-19 our score with 5:23 remaining, and right now a big fourth down play for the Cougars coming up.
Yeah, absolutely it is, and you just gave the score here. The other McKinney game going on right now, the Lions have surged back into the lead over in Pizza Hut Park, 38-31 over Centennial.
Timeout on the field. We'll take 1-2. 35-19. Boyd in the lead. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. 35-19 here at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd looking to go to the playoffs. They have to stop the Colony first.
Well, this is a really key fourth down, because if they convert, likely if you convert, you get a touchdown. All of a sudden, it's a one-possession game, and as good as we were feeling, the past 30 minutes or whatever, all of that might go up in smoke.
Yeah, look what's happened up north.
Exactly, and so we felt good about it, but at the same time, this 4th and 12 play is going to go a long way.
And like you pointed out, Brandon, the Colony, they can pick up a first down. They don't have to score a touchdown here. They can get it down to the 2-yard line, and that's enough to move the sticks.
Yeah, and if you do get that first down, boy, you put yourself in great position to get a touchdown, but you take more time off the clock.
4th and 12. And if you want to know where Tony Peoples is lining up, he's in the slot on the right side. Perkins at quarterback goes under center. 2 receivers to the left. Dropping back 5 steps, looking right. Throws across the middle, and it's caught and then dropped and now intercepted to the 10. To the 15, 20, to the 30, cutting it back outside. That's the safety, Jacob Sigler, and he's tackled at the 45-yard line. There's a flag down right behind the line of scrimmage.
I think that's going to be an offensive hold, and obviously you're going to decline it if that's the case, because that came out right before the ball was thrown. So it looks like the play is going to stand, and if that's the case, the Broncos have done all but seal this one.
Another big turnover.
And it is indeed holding.
So both safeties have picks.
Well, one has a touchdown.
So McKinney Boyd will take over with 5:09 left to go, and looks like they've pretty much sealed it here. Now, you never know about these things, especially those guys at Plano East that's seen that game about 13 years ago.
Yeah, and again, at the same time, a turnover the other direction, all of a sudden the score is a little bit different.
Mazer in the backfield along with Alves. Alves is going to run up the middle, and he's got a little room, and he makes more room. Another 7-yard gain to the 48-yard line in the Colony territory now. And Alves, when he runs that play, it looks like the official's been shaken up a little bit. The back judge is kind of slumped over a little bit. Justin Pierce needs some time to think about things, as he might have been knocked silly on that play. He's holding his head. Now the trainers are going to go out and talk with the official there. It's the back judge again, Justin Pierce. And he may have been hit in the nose. They're looking at his nose.
Oh, it looks fine. Just, a view through the binoculars.
Yeah, he got hit. And he got his bell rung a little bit. Remember, those officials don't wear helmets out there.
I've always wondered why that's the case. Bare minimum, you should, like bikers have to wear that bike helmet. Bare minimum, they should wear something like that.
Well, we saw that a couple of weeks ago in the Dallas Cowboy game. You remember the official got knocked out of the game, and they had to officiate minus one official. So,
well, looks like if you're tracking the game up north, if anyone cares, again it's 44-43. Denison now leading Sherman, but Sherman has the ball, 1st and 10 at the Yellow Jacket 18-yard line.
Wow.
Incredible game, apparently, at the 99th Battle of the Axe. Here's 2nd down and 2 for McKinney Boyd. Moving left to right. Alves is going to keep it now. Dances, he's in jail, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage, and this is going to be a loss. Alves had nowhere to go. It'll be 3rd and probably about 5 now after the loss. Brings him back on the McKinney Boyd side of the field to the 48-yard line.
The important thing, Monty, is regardless of what happens on this play, this drive will have taken almost 2 minutes or maybe even more than 2 minutes off the clock. And given the fact you're down 2, that's a huge amount of time. Now, that said, that doesn't mean the Colony can't score with the time given left.
By the way, $1:20 left to go in that game up there. Incredible game. Wow. 3rd and 5 here at Ron Poe Stadium. Alves looks to throw in traffic. Now he jumps back out. Now he still wants to throw. Rolls left, throws, and it's caught. And I believe that is that Mazer again. Mazer makes the catch, a 1st down inside the 40 to the 36-yard line.
And you were talking about Cameron Mazer earlier on special teams, and he gives contributions on defense and offense too, and that's what I'm talking about. Again, Darren Alves is a very tremendous kid, meant a lot to this team. But unsung guys like Cameron Mazer has meant just as much, because there he is making a 1st down catch. A few plays ago, he's making an open field special teams tackle. On defense, he makes it. He's a tremendous athlete too, just not in a different way.
There's Alves jumping over Mazer, who was getting a block for him, and Alves is going to gain 4 or 5 yards on that 1st down. Mazer went for the leg block, and Alves said, well, you're kind of in my way. I'm just going to jump right over you.
But bottom line, Mazer got his block, didn't he? So it works out well. And again, that's why they complement each other. You got a big bruiser in Mazer who's able to do things like just go over the middle and make a catch. And then at the other end, you've got a flash, if you will, in Darren Alves. So between them, and that expands to the whole team. Everybody complements each other well.
Under 3 minutes here at Ron Poe Stadium. Boyd looking to go to the playoffs for the first time, and they don't have much longer left, but it's going to keep being delayed by the penalties, apparently. And there's a flag on this one, and apparently somebody jumped across from the opposing. No, it's going to be the McKinney Boyd Broncos. Brenton Liggins, I believe, who jumped offside. So bring it back. It'll be 2nd down and 10 or 11.
And the funny thing is, in a way, that almost helps your cause, because the clock was running as it was. Now you get a fresh play clock, and so you're able to take a little bit more time off. So in a way, you can still take a positive out of that.
2:30 and rolling. A.J. Jones comes in the backfield from the slot position, and he gets the hand, running left guard, a big hole to the 25, outside to the 20, to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. It's touchdown time in Texas for A.J. Jones. A.J.'s 5th rushing touchdown of the year seals the deal for McKinney Boyd, and it's playoff time in Texas.
No question about it now. Given the fact that the Colony hasn't had the best offensive game that they've had this year, and the way that the Boyd defense is playing, there still may be a 1% chance, but it's not much more than that for the Colony.
Yarborough on for the PAT, kicks it high, and he kicks it true. It is 42-19, Boyd in the lead with 2:17 left. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK.
Last touchdown by the Broncos pretty much puts this one in the bag. 42-19, 2:17 left to go in the fourth quarter. And, again, I don't want to say it just yet, but looks like Boyd's on their way. And for the American Bank of Texas scoring drive update, here's Jay.
5 plays, 56 yards, 2 minutes and 52 seconds ran off the clock. A 38-yard run by the senior, A.J. Jones. Nice way to wrap up his career here at Ron Poe.
It may not be done.
Here's a shank kick. A low-line driver is going to be taken as a squib kick. That's what I was looking for. Taken by the Colony, and it'll be first and 10 from their own 31-yard line.
By the way, update, Centennial and McKinney, the lines. That game tied at 38 now.
So back and forth up there at Pizza Hut Park. And you know what? We could have been covering that game. That might have been a little better game.
Mosikowski and Lee going at it. Touchdowns are falling from the sky there at Pizza Hut Park.
You know, who would have thought that, Monty, that the best game of the night would have been over there.
Yeah.
But still.
You'd like to be here for the clincher.
Absolutely.
And here's Perkins, and he almost throws another interception. Jamel Miner may have gotten a hand on that. He was trying to hit his receiver, Zach Wollman. And the ball falls incomplete. It'll be second down and 10. 2 minutes and 9 seconds left to go before McKinney Boyd makes its first playoff trip.
Perkins got hot there for a minute. He's now thrown 5 straight incompletions, including an interception, of course, the costly interception that led to a touchdown a while ago.
Handoff, and this is a new running back in for the Colony. He'll make his way to the far side, and that's going to be Tashim Dixon. He runs about 35 yards, but he only gains about 5. So it'll be 3rd and 5 here. And final at the 99th Battle of the Axe in Grayson County. It's 44-43. Denison wins on a 40-yard blocked field goal with 2 seconds left. Unbelievable finish up there at Bearcat Stadium. Here is Perkins throwing the out route, and it's caught. And I believe that may be Peoples over there on the far side who makes the catch. I'll have to see.
Again, dislike these jerseys. Really hard to read the numbers.
And it's not Peoples. It is Wollman who makes the stop. So $1:54 on the clock. 1st and 10 for the Colony. But it doesn't matter.
I don't even see Peoples on the field.
He's not in the game now. And here's Perkins. He pumps and now rolls out left in trouble. Jumps and throws, and he may have fumbled. The ball's on the turf. Lots of Boyd Broncos were right there. The officials are going to have to sort this one out. I don't see how Boyd would not come up with this ball. But apparently they did not. I mean, coming off the pile was Matt. I believe that was Matt Morton coming up with the ball off the turf, but.
And that's 4 fumbles in the second half by the Colony. They've only lost 1 of them.
Well, they had fumbled 17 times actually coming into the game. Only 9 were on turnovers. And here's a big run by, once again, the running back Dixon, who gains 9 yards. And that'll bring up a 3rd and short, 3rd and 2. Now we're just about under the minute mark here at Ron Poe Stadium. Dixon bounces it out right side 40 and runs out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Stops the clock at 57 seconds.
Yeah, right now, if you're the Boyd Broncos, just keep them in bounds. You know, granted, in that case, the clock would have stopped anyway for the first down, but at least when you set the ball, it immediately starts up again.
Well, we'll talk to John Leidy down on the sidelines and see what he's got down there, because I know there's some very happy Boyd Broncos.
Ooh, here comes the Gatorade dump.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Don Drake.
him.
Don Drake got the Gatorade. Here's Tony Peoples back in the game, and he makes a move to the 30, up to the 25. Looks out, that's Dixon, and Dixon's going to score to the 5. And Dixon is in for the touchdown with 46 seconds left. Don Drake got the bucket, and the Colony gets the score.
Well, the onside kick after this? I mean, 46 seconds, that's a tough hurdle to overcome when you only have 1 timeout. At this point, it's likely meaningless, but, you know, you still have to try.
Well, they will go for 2. Tony Peoples coming into the game. He is limping a little bit. So not sure what the injury situation is with Tony Peoples. Looks like he's not 100% though. I mean, he's run a lot of yards. He's had a tough ball game tonight.
178 on 27 carries.
Perkins throwing in the end zone. It's batted away. And a great play there. And I believe that was Miller Burns who deflected the ball. 42-25. McKinney Boyd in the lead with 46 delicious seconds remaining until the playoffs. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Welcome back to Ron Post Stadium. Monty Walker along with the rest of the gang. McKinney Boyd on their way to the playoffs. They've got 46 seconds left. And it's got to be a happy bunch down there on the sidelines. The Colony is lining up in a really crazy kickoff formation that I have never seen before. There are 5 guys, including the kicker, lined up right behind each other.
It's like an I formation.
It really is. And then everybody else is lined up to the side. Here's the kick. It's going to be out of bounds. It never hit the turf. It's just a high kick that went out of bounds.
Looks like they need to work on that a little bit more.
Well, there's no need anymore. It's basketball season for the Colony.
Oh, that's low.
You know, the worst thing I saw was, I believe it was Pilot Point, when they knocked somebody out of the playoffs, and all you saw after the game were basketballs being rolled across the field to the other side.
It's funny. It's wrong, but it's funny.
Very wrong. But basketballs, like 15 basketballs just rolled across the field to the other side. 1st and 10 for McKinney Boyd. 46 seconds left before playoff time. And we'll talk with a very, very happy Don Drake and our Torchmark Corporation player of the game, Philip Sears, number 30, the safety who picked off a pass and ran it back to the house. And Darren Alves gets the snap, and he'll take a knee. We also might want to talk with one of our senior spot, maybe both our inside linebackers had tremendous games. Ryan Garrett, number 28, and Jamel Miner, number 20. Both of those guys with tremendous games tonight on defense.
Real quick can I make a suggestion to Coach Drake? Why don't we put Darren Alves under center and not let him use so many yards on the kneel down?
You know, he's losing yards here.
I mean, that's 5.
He lost 10 yards.
On a kneel down.
Yeah, he's officially down to 168.
There's 10 seconds on the clock, and these are the most delicious seconds that McKinney Boyd has ever experienced. 3, 2, 1, and McKinney, your Boyd Broncos are in the playoffs for the first time in school history. They defeat the Colony Cougars tonight 42-25. And it's tremendous joy down on the sidelines. A second-year program. 0-10 last year, 7-3 this year, and going to the playoffs, while their other 2 older brothers sit home.
Boy, so for the second time in 2 years, that's been the case. 3 years, that's been the case. You know, North did it to McKinney. You know, my first year in covering the ISD.
We'll have the coaches interview and the player interview, the Torchmark Corporation player of the game. Those interviews, we'll have those as soon as these guys get through meeting with their coaches and talking on the field and huddling up. We're going to take a timeout. It's 42-25, the final score tonight at Ron Post Stadium. McKinney Boyd clinches the playoffs. They'll play next week, next Friday night at Standard Stadium versus Richardson Pierce. Back in a moment on 97.5 KLAK. Oh, there's some happy kids down on the sideline here for McKinney Boyd. This is an unbelievable moment for this school and this program and this city. And hopefully the 2 big brothers will come out next week in support of little brother at Standard Stadium.
You'd hope so. And I want to go back to early in the district schedule, Monty. Do you remember when the Broncos lost to Lake Dallas and it was like, hey, you guys played great. Remember your only second year? And Coach Drake was like, no, that's not how we roll around here. Isn't he right?
Yeah.
Isn't he right?
You know, Coach Drake was a little upset, after that loss with the effort from his team. He thought his team didn't play very well that night against Lake Dallas, that they could have won. They should have won. That is what he felt. And he was being congratulated by the effort from some of the fans, and this and that. And he thought, you know what? I'm not happy with the effort.
Yeah, I know.
Just because we're a new program doesn't mean that it's okay to lose, to someone who's supposed to be better than you. Even though we're a second-year program, we feel like we are good and we are the team to beat, and that's the way he felt. And, it shows that his team feels that way too.
And the ironic thing,
listen to this team.
Yeah, they deserve every bit of that cheer.
That's some happy kids down there.
The ironic thing is, had they beaten Lake Dallas and the score held up today, Lake Dallas Frisco, you're looking at your district champions right here. It comes down to
who would have thought before this season.
I didn't. I'll be honest, I didn't.
Oh, I never would have either. John Leidy's down on the sideline, and whenever he's ready, he can go. And I don't believe he's ready yet.
No, he's getting too much congratulations down there. John has to fight through people just to look at him because he's getting mobbed.
I'm first looking for our Torchmark player of the game, Philip Sears, and I'm trying to dig through this big, all his teammates right here, so I'm trying to grab him. Hey, Philip. Congratulations, you've been named Torchmark player of the game with that interception for the touchdown. Big momentum change there in the first half. You're a senior. How does this feel to go 0-10 this year, prove to everybody this year, 7-3, make the playoffs? I'm just going to let you talk about it.
It feels amazing. It's overwhelming. I mean, not many people thought we could do it, but we did. And, we're happy, but we're not satisfied yet. But, I can't even explain how great it is.
I'm going to say congratulations. I've got a whole crew down here to get to. I've also down here with number 28, Ryan Garrett, who was one of our spotlight players of the game, along with Jamal Miner, our two inside linebackers. I'm also just going to let you talk about your feelings right now.
Oh, man, I'm really excited about it. I started playing football in 3rd grade, and just seeing the varsity team play and going to playoffs and stuff, it's just like, man, I want to do that. And now I'm in it, and I'm just stoked, man. I can't – I'm really excited.
Thank you. Good luck next week. I'm also down here. Y'all are brothers, correct? I got A.J. Jones and Jamal Miner. Y'all are brothers, yes. Both seniors and all. We got a defensive power horse here, offensive power horse over here tonight. We're going to start with our linebacker, Jamal Miner.
Hey.
Hey. Hey to everybody out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I want you to fill us in. He has one question for our statistician up there. He wants to know how many tackles he had on the night. That's his only question.
Oh.
But I'm going to get that to you in just a second.
Okay.
I want you to fill us in on the defensive play tonight.
Oh, I thought the defense performance was great. It was overwhelming. We came out and played harder and tougher than the other team, and we got the job done.
Okay, I'm also down here with A.J. Jones, who just ran the ball great tonight. Will you fill us in on the offensive side of the –
I feel like we did our job. Our wide receivers, quarterback, running backs, O-line. I'm giving credit to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And we did our thing. We're going to playoffs, baby. You see it?
Okay, I'm also down here with Jeff Fuller, who's actually making funny faces, these guys, trying to make everybody just laugh. It's kind of the moment that they're in. They're happy. They're glad. They just have the right to be happy like this, coming in, making the playoffs.
Yeah, it feels real good. Went to playoffs one time as a freshman on scout team. Got to sit on the sideline. Can't wait to, get some action.
Thank you. Good luck next week. I'm also down here with the quarterback. I'm sorry, not number 8 this week, number 19. And rumor has it you're going to be number 7 next year. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Also, I have some great news. You went over 2,000 yards rushing tonight, and I think you're up, if I'm not mistaken, you're over 2,100 yards on the season so far and going to be continuing next week.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of that, but it's also our offensive line just getting the blocks or wide receivers so I can cut it up the field and everything. So.
Now, Jay gave you the credit up there having 20,000 yards on the season this year, maybe, or even for a career. Is that obtainable?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, good luck in the playoffs next week. See you next week.
All right. Thanks a lot, John Leidy. And,
he rolled through the players, didn't he?
Who knows? 20,000 yards. Who knows, And
he hesitated just a little bit. He goes, yeah, why not?
This is going to be an interesting interview with Coach Don Drake. I'd like to know how it feels, first of all, to clinch the playoffs with the second year. It's got to be an amazing feeling. And then is it ironic a little bit to do it against your old team, the Colony? Maybe stick it to them a little bit. Probably, he doesn't care about that.
I
but
doubt it.
But you know, it is interesting.
And if he did, he probably is not going to come out and say it.
No, but you know, it is kind of ironic that he'll be.
They're not in the same district next year, so you know. He's
I'll still ask though.
And we could talk about, maybe Richardson Pierce. Maybe take a look ahead towards next week and see what his insight is on Richardson Pierce, if he's even thought about them at all. I'd like to know a little bit about that.
And part of the reason John can't get to him right now is there's a lot of riders out on the field who are interviewing him, and I got to wonder, where were these guys all year?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, we thought these guys were going to be playoff contenders from day one. You know, we've been there.
I tell you what, when we did that final game last year, when they went 0-10, we thought, oh, this is a playoff team next year.
Yeah, they just take their lumps. No, but yeah, you know, seriously, hey, we've been with the team all year.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we have to take it back. See,
well,
not complaining.
John was fighting through players a minute ago, and now Coach Drake is taking some questions and waiting anxiously for Don Drake.
I mean, it could be worse. I mean, there could be an opposing broadcaster stealing our players, so you know, I'll take that.
You know, Coach Drake got the. Well, John wants to talk to us. John, go ahead.
It's not an opposing broadcaster down here stealing player. I'm giving him his time, but something I'd like to also fill you in. I'm sure y'all probably covered this, but the game has been officially announced. It'll be next Friday, 7:30 at Carrollton Standard Stadium against Richardson Pierce, which is just a rival, I guess you could say, down the road about 15, 20 miles. So we look forward to that being a great game.
You know, and you might ask Coach Bobby Rays a little bit about Richardson Pierce because he was there last year. May have some insight. I don't know if Don Drake might want to talk to Bobby Rays this week a little bit and see if there's some inside information he can get and learn about some of those players.
Now I could be wrong, but it looks like some of these writers aren't necessarily, say, you know, newspaper writers for the Daily in the area. It looks like these guys are student reporters for the local high school newspaper.
Well, and you don't want to
no, absolutely not.
interfere with the high school at all. Here's John Leidy. He's approaching Don Drake, and here he is.
I'm down here with Coach Drake, and I've got two questions for you, and I'm going to let you run. How does it feel to be a playoff team in your second year?
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it's a special thing. You know, I've been telling our kids for the last couple of weeks that you got something to do. You got an opportunity to do something really special. You know, there's not many teams in the second year of the program that have an opportunity to go to the playoffs, and our kids have fought and they've played hard and they've earned that opportunity.
And one other question, do you find it ironic that you actually clinched against a program that you once coached for?
I don't know how much irony's in that. I had 2 good years when I was there at the Colony, and I mean, I don't know, it just fell that way, I guess. But their kids play hard. They do a good job over there, and, you know, they gave us a fight to the end, which I knew they would, and I'm just real proud our kids overcame and kept fighting and won the football game.
And I'm going to give you a little motto right here. They say let them run on their blow-up. I'm just going to let Coach Drake run right here with what he wants to talk about.
I'm just real proud of our kids. You know, from where we were a year ago to where we are now, in my mind, is a pretty amazing accomplishment. And it comes because kids have bought into the philosophy that we've tried to put in place, the mentality we tried to put into place, and they've believed and they've kept fighting, and we've been pushing them and they've responded, and they've responded again tonight. And I'm excited for them. I'm excited for our seniors and the fact that they've given us a lot of firsts this year, and that's something they're going to be able to take with them for many years, you know, looking back on their high school experience and what we've been able to accomplish in just a short period of time.
And one last question. The MHS coach Bobby Rays actually coached at Richardson Pierce last year. Will you be contacting him this week?
Oh, I may give him a call, ask him about a few of those kids and see what he has to say, see if he can give me a little insight.
Well, thank you, Coach, for the interview. We look forward to seeing you next week and look forward to another win next week, too. Good luck. Thank you.
All right.
Guys, it's been an exciting regular season. I'm glad there's postseason coming on the way. Woohoo! Back with y'all.
And a very excited John Lindley down on the sidelines. And, you know, if John Leidy, did I say Lindley? I've had trouble with that all year.
That's all right. We're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? Well, I don't know where I was going with that, but, you know, it is interesting that, you know, that Coach Don Drake will actually probably make the phone call to Coach Rays.
Why wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Both in the same district, same ISD.
And to be honest, if Coach Drake sounded a little down there and not like himself, he's been sick all week. Monday, he was really, really sick and really battling on it. And I think he didn't get over that flu-like illness until Wednesday morning, I think is what he said. And he still is having some congestion problems, I think.
Well, at the same time, a win like this
it'll take it out of you.
Absolutely.
42-25, Boyd wins tonight over the Colony Cougars. We'll be back in a moment to wrap this thing up on 97.5 KLAK.